Good evening, citizens, and welcome to another episode of Objection Crime Chatter. We're doing it on a Monday night. Normally, we go on Sunday evenings at 8 Eastern, but we moved it over to Monday today. So, thank you everyone for showing up. And we have a guest today with us, the one, the only DFJ, our other true crime specialist. How are you doing,
Hi.
DFJ? We are getting into some of these romanticizing homicide is the episode today, which basically is going to be twofold. For one, we're going to be updating you guys on the David case, which has been my Roman Empire for the last couple weeks. And mostly just trying to figure out like how he got here. Obviously, the disclaimer below, all defendants are presumed innocent until proven guilty. With David, he's not even named a suspect. So you got to be very careful about how we talk about him. Because there are no suspects. We finally got a public information officer. Remember when I talked to you guys on the last David episode that part of the reason why conspiracy theories and things like that pop up is because there's no PIO, there's no one to go to, so everyone's just kind of making up their own stuff. And so we finally have the public information officer because of citizen journalist Lauren Conlin, who I put in our last episode, who's a great go-to. SF Investigates as well.
Yes,
They
you
both
did a
were,
great job.
they were both calling in, trying to find out what was going on. And I guess a lot of people were calling in. I actually had it on my to-do list because I was like, I want to call in. But they finally said, we're just going to put out a statement. And so they finally put out an official statement. And, it came from the PIO. I don't know if they're going to be putting out anything else, but there was a couple little nuggets in there that helped us. Not much, but kind of figure out a timeline. So we're going to get into that as well as, again, the theory that we had last episode with David. If you guys haven't seen that episode on David, that's the full catch up to the case. It's in my lives. And it goes, into his childhood and all that stuff, which we're not going to get too into, but we'll give a brief summary for those who haven't watched that one. But basically how media can shape minds because of his music and the style of music that he played. And if it's true that, this was him, we do know for sure that there was a body found in his car. And so we're going to base it off
Yes,
that.
and
And so go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I love that you have that David and Kohberger, as both of the photos, because Ashley Banfield was just saying that she feels this is like Idaho 4 all over again, the way that they're presenting it to the public. And so already the conspiracy theories are going crazy,
Yeah,
and it doesn't do anyone any favors. And then it leads to people, like romanticizing him and being like, just, being
exactly.
like, oh, he was framed, he was set up, because
Well,
they're
the
not giving us
conspiracies
anything.
start, and that's where the supporters come in. So we're going to go into the David stuff, what he was into, some of the media that he consumed, and the different theories between some people who think. One of my friends, Geeky Cast, who does Marvel, he's the one who made me see it from another point of view. He's like, it's not anything that was consumed. It's just people with mental illness, because there's people who play video games and are exposed to violent gore and all that, and they don't end up doing anything. And so we're going to explore those concepts. And that's attached to Kohberger too, because he was inspired by other serial killers who then inspired films like Scream and stuff like that. And I know we've covered it on another show. Sorry, I keep calling him Kohberger, but it's Inmate 214. We don't call him by his name. But that's
Yeah,
who
two and
we'll be
four.
referring to when we say 214. And then also you see next to him the little slip that's people were putting money and still are putting money on his books. They call him pro burgers, people who still think even after he said, hey, I am guilty of this, because with him it's different. All of these other people, David, Luigi Mangione, Barry MORPHEW, they have not been proven guilty. And in the case of David, he's not even a suspect. But with 214, he's already said, hey, yes, I'm guilty. He's spending the rest of his life in jail, but yet still people think that he was forced to say that he was guilty,
Yeah.
that, he had no choice. And so the little slip is someone who had put money on his books. He's still getting money from supporters. And it's, these sort of good looking kind of guys who get it. And it's not just that they have to be super good looking, because you look at Barry MORPHEW, he's aged. He's not a
He is
young man.
he is not, I mean, in my opinion, like not attractive whatsoever. And he admitted to illegally killing squirrels.
Yeah, and that's
And
your
he still has
Roman
women
Empire.
paying,
If you
and
guys
then he still
don't
has
know,
women putting money on his books or like to pay for illegal like
yeah,
fighting
they
for
literally bailed him out, and so this is his.
him.
I say he's like a cat with 9 lives because this is his third time getting out of jail. The first time, he, the prosecutors did not have their duckies in a row to try him, and so they said, we're going to let him go, and then we'll come back and retry him. So he got let go, and yeah, so this is his third time getting let go. The supporters, we don't know exactly the details, but we're going to go into that article of how he was bailed out and what he's going to use to get out of it, because now he's saying that there's this other DNA, and we went over it in the episode. It's called Chipmunk Slayer, so it's in my lives if you want to catch up on his case and what ended up happening with him. But he's going to try and get out of it. So we're going to have an update on his case and just kind of discuss like why people are supporting this. These people who are accused of homicide. What is it in the psychology of people? And it's actually women. And part of it is the conspiracies. When there's not enough information, then people start to get into conspiracy rabbit holes. And does it say something about their mental state as well, these supporters? So we're going to get all the way into it. I was going to save this video for the end because it's almost like, what can you do as parents? But this is what triggered the episode today. I'm going to go ahead and play this video of a psychologist that went on the show. And it's actually really, really good because it's like an hour. What is it? An hour and 30 minutes long. And I'll link it so if anybody wants to watch it. But it's this psychologist talking about let me pull it up. She talks about mental health and stuff, but the ending part is what really compelled me to like start the episode. As far as David is concerned, it was what she said in the end about families and what can be done to prevent these things in her eyes. And so this is Carole Lieberman, who has who's part of the American Psychiatric Association. Let me put us down here so people can see it bigger. So I'm going to play this. So this is what triggered today's episode. We're just going to play a little bit of it.
People who were in front, who were, pro save George Floyd. We get signs of someone being nowadays. It used to be that families would have, it was like a normal thing that every family would have dinner together. And nowadays, so many families don't do that. But it was at the dinner table that the parents should be talking to the kids about, what did you do in school? Did you have a good day? Are you happy? Did something bad happen today? All kinds of questions. Of course, a big part of the problem is that there is so many more divorces today. So many more broken families that there isn't this, father knows best kind of dinner kind of thing, because there is often no father. Now, of course, with Tyler, with Kohberger and Tyler, there were fathers, so that their families weren't divorced. But plus video games, plus every parent. Video games should not exist. Violent video games should not exist. Should be banned. And I spoke about that for years and years. Before 9/11, then when 9/11 came, I took up being the terrorist therapist. But I testified before Congress several times about the danger of violent video games. There have been studies upon studies showing that the more hours of violent video games you play, the more violent, aggressive you become. Not everybody becomes a serial killer, but maybe they'll become a domestic batterer or something like that, or air rage or road rage. And all of these people were I don't know so much about Kohberger. I think he did play video games to some extent, and certainly Tyler was all into video games and things like that. I know free speech and all that kind of stuff, but violent video games are just have really increased the level of aggression in our society.
Yeah, they're getting into the impressionable minds of youngsters, And you know, that's their minds are sponges at certain ages of their life when they're young. The mind doesn't mature until 25, and so up to that point, you know, you're feeding it. And if you're feeding it those violent stuff from video games and things, you know, I 100% agree with you. I think it does play a role. It does play a toll on certain individuals. I think there's also, you know, when you're inside playing video games all day, you're not releasing, you know, your testosterone if you're a man out there, you know, doing things outside, running around, playing sports and stuff like that. So pent up energy, pent up testosterone, anger, video games. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it can be a formula, not for everybody. Obviously, there's a lot of kids out there that play video games that don't turn into a violent person, but to the right situation and to the right person at the wrong time, it can lead to a disaster, I think.
And you know, parents are using the video games as a babysitter. And it used to be that they would use television as a babysitter, but television, for the most part, you know, I mean, there were some good programs on television, like cartoons and just, you know, Sesame Street and things like that. But the video games, you know, you can't really find much in the way that's positive. And it's just, and kids who go to school, they come home, then they sit down and they just go automatically to playing video games. I mean, that's how they spend their time. And yes, you know, instead of running around outside, like you were saying, absolutely. You know, you just get enclosed into this fantasy world. That's part of it too. That helps these people to go crazy, not just violent, but crazy in this, you know, you believe you're in this world of the game.
You know, what the last question I have, and just because we brought this part up, do you think COVID forcing people to stay inside, forcing people on the computers, have some kind of implication?
Yes, that was when those COVID years, when it wasn't so much COVID itself, it was the lockdowns.
Correct.
That created bedroom terrorists, it's called. Not radical Islamist terrorists, but although for them too, they got a lot of recruiting accomplished during the COVID years because people were inside and looking at their computers. But a lot of people spent countless hours, all those hours that they weren't out going to school or out doing other things, playing these violent video games. And it really raised the temperature of the level of violence tremendously.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we've seen it in the last few years, the amount of a lot of things that have increased. Well, Dr. Lieberman, I don't want to take too much more of your time. I want to say thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Can you let everybody know where they can find you, where they can find your content? I've linked your X account in the description, but if you want to plug anything else, go by all means.
Sure. Well, since we've been talking about these criminal cases, my website for that is expertwitnesspsychiatrist.com. Expert witness forensic.
Okay, so I'll link that website, but there was a lot of good comments coming in that I was putting up where people are, where DFJ, do you want to go and talk about your comments, DFJ, real quick?
Oh, I mean, I think I don't entirely agree with this lady. What did she call herself? The 9/11, the terrorist therapist or something?
Yeah,
that was an interesting line. I think a lot of this comes down to bad parenting. I think that, you know, kids need to build up their self-esteem and their social skills, and that's why you put them in activities. Like sports are one of the best things for that. And when, you know, I don't know if it's just lazy parenting or bad parenting where they just like let the kids go home. And
she says that later on in there, right? She says that it's like, it's not just the video games, it's like the parents letting the kid in the room with the video game by themselves, like using it.
But if it wasn't the video game, they would just go online and find something, you know. It's like, it's just, I feel like it's, you can't just put like an impressionable kid to let the internet like guide them to how to be a normal person, you know, because you look at the internet, that people are crazy. So they need to like socialize with other humans and either sports or in school or, you know, some kind of activity, I think. And and go outside. I never see kids like really playing outside as much anymore. Like, so I don't know what it is exactly, but we've had video games forever. And I don't think it's video games on it by itself that would cause these issues, in my opinion, you know?
And that's what my friend Geeky was saying. Chad, whatever I call him, Geeky Cast is his channel. If you guys like Marvel, y'all should check him out. But he was saying, like, I played violent video games because I'm also talking about media and as far as animation, because obviously he does Marvel content. And so I was asking him about glamorizing homicide in animation, like cartoons and things like that. And we'll get into what David was watching because he was really into Japanese anime, which is, more violent, more violent imagery than normal. Like if it's like a manga or whatever. And so we'll get into that. But he was saying, he's like, no, I played video games and I didn't turn out violent. So I think it is both what you said, DFJ, because then there's also the fact that when so David grew up Christian in a Christian household, only listening to gospel music. And then when he was on a bus one day, I guess the school bus, I'm assuming, someone told him like, oh, you should listen to this, and handed him the aux cord for Smoke Perp and Little Pump and stuff. And it was this music that had kind of like dark emo, violent tones. And so then he was exposed to that. And that's the thing with like why people don't like hyper religious parenting, which, I believe Brian he grew up religious and stuff, is because then they're not exposed to other things. And when they are exposed, they go all in on it. And then it can create some kind of like, because he was 13 at the time. And so he ends up making the same style of music. He kind of like chameleons himself into everything that he starts to become exposed to. And so I had made some notes on what the kind of stuff. So he watched Death Note, which was something, these are all animes: Death Note, Attack on Titans, The Brutality of War, Curses, Inner Battles, Sacrifices, Demon Slayer, which is about loss and revenge. And so it was all these anime style mangas that were very graphic, that dealt with things that maybe his brain at that age was not capable of. The movie Fight Club, which is about split identities. He then created his own split identity called Itami, which was basically a second personality of his. And he even referred to it as like it wrote some of his songs. And so that's maybe where we get Romantic Homicide and things like that. He was 17 when he released that song. He played it for his mom in the car, and his mom was like, oh, no, not a son of mine talking about, killing. And even though it's a metaphor for love or whatever, she right away did not like it. And he's like, oh, it's going to be a banger. And so it does go into these also themes about the music industry and what kind of music, gets hits and what people play and all that stuff. But so, yeah, so he watched movies like Bones and All, which was a movie where the girl, it romanticizes cannibalism. The girl loves him so much, she ends up eating Timothy Chalamet, bones and all, at the end. So it's a gross movie. And then there was another movie called Waves that he was really into that is also about a guy killing his girlfriend. So there's all these themes that almost seem, if he is involved in this, that almost seems like it reflects what ended up happening from when he was 17 to 20, or I guess since he was 13 when he first started getting into this stuff. So 13 to 20. So over that 7 years period, there's all these things that kind of reflect what ended up kind of happening, things that we're into. He was reposting things such as he had TikTok reposts with dark themes from as early as.
Do we know that that he wasn't off from before that?
Well,
just
that's
because he is listening to gospel music.
We're trying to figure out when they moved from Queens, from Brooklyn to Houston, why he all of a sudden started getting homeschooled. Did something happen in Queens and that's why he couldn't get? Because first I thought it was COVID, but it was 2 years before COVID. So it wasn't because of COVID that he was homeschooled, because they moved from Queens, and we don't really know much about his life in Queens and his childhood, as far as other than he grew up, you know, singing in the church choir in a Christian home and not exposed to stuff. And then that's the other thing that I asked Geeky was, okay, so say video games and all that stuff. Say that you play video games, but you still go to school and you socialize. Is it different when you're in isolation? Is watching media and all this dark stuff, does it hit the brain different when you're in isolation? Because he talks about his isolation a lot, that his friends were out falling in love.
If it's all they do, if it's all they do, you know, it's a totally different thing if they're not interacting with normal kids. Can I just say as a side note, what is going on with her pillows? Like, I can't figure this out. Like, why does she have all these pillows? She takes them off the couch and puts them behind the couch.
Yeah.
Is that bothering anyone else? It's like really bothering me. Like,
okay, let me move to our next slide here. Then we're gonna go to the David.
If that's how her head is, if that's how she thinks pillows go, I wouldn't trust that. I would turn around.
It looks like there was two couches for a second to me.
I would walk right out of that office. I'd be like, that person's not right in the head.
So it's a parenting issue in general. I feel that isolation some kids do or meet the wrong people can contribute. So that's what I was thinking, meeting the wrong people. So I was like, dang, so it took that interaction on the bus for him to start listening to Little Pump and Smoke Perp and, you know, this, you know, dark emo rap. With violent connotations like XXXTentacion and all those people, which I get it that it's like expression of darkness, because Billie Eilish does it too. And this became popularized in Gen Z, which was like, instead of like expression, like, you know, there's always been sad ballads and stuff like that, but it went into like the deep, dark depths. And then the music videos would reflect it. Like, y'all remember the Billie Eilish video with the black goo and all these weird like imagery that was like, what the heck? Like, I remember I used to love her music until I started watching her videos where I was like, what is this? This is like not, this is.
I think it's an excuse. We've always had this. In fact, I think movies used to be even more graphic and more, you know, the rating. Remember, I think the ratings were totally different. Like,
and they called it satanic panic when it was the music back in the day. They were like, you know, this is devil's music or whatever. But I mean, we have to start to talk about like how it impacts young brains when, you know, there's 10 or 11-year-olds requesting XXXTentacion music. It's like their minds are not capable of understanding the dark themes surrounding it, you know? So this is the slide that I think, because you were talking about movies. So a lot of people are blaming, you know, like the imagery in his music videos, that they're like these dark themes and, you know, he's got problems, he's whatever. But so this person said the musical video scenes that are in his videos are common scenes that are seen in movies. The roses comparison from American Beauty. You have the bloody shirts comparison from Hannibal to what he was wearing. So they're kind of saying like these are already depictions that are in media, and he's not doing anything wrong by depicting this, and it doesn't put any culpability on him, which again, he's innocent until proven guilty. So we're not saying that, we're just kind of deep diving into what his mindset was and what he was doing. And then Bird Box here with the blindfold. This is the one that a lot of people started saying like, wait, did he depict putting her in the trunk? Because he literally puts a girl's body in the trunk of the car.
I think this is like, we can't even speculate until I want to see from everything from before he apparently stopped listening to gospel music, because that feels like a setup to me. Like, just, he was listening to gospel music doesn't mean that he was a saint. Like, I know a lot of corruption that goes on in churches and whatever.
Well, that's what I was saying, that sometimes when the parents go super like uber, because basically what happened was he was not allowed to listen to secular music. So he downloads, so the kid on the bus introduces it to him. He downloads SoundCloud to his, I think, homeschool computer, because they checked his phone every night to make sure that he wasn't up to anything or didn't have anything that he wasn't supposed to. But they didn't check his computer, I guess. I don't know.
So we don't know that they did that.
Well, this is we can only go based off what's in the information.
I always think there has to be something with the parents, you know, and so they want to act like, I feel like they're making a narrative like, we were religious and we checked his phone.
Well, no, the parents haven't spoken out. This is just interviews of David from when he was coming up. Like, these are interviews that he would give.
So David said that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is stuff from David. And so he says that he downloaded SoundCloud behind his parents' back, And that's where he started to listen to this music behind their back. So that's what I was saying about being ultra religious, because sometimes when you try to, like, instead of having these conversations, like what the therapist said, like at dinner, like, hey, what music are you listening to? Let's have conversations about music. Let's listen to it together. It's like he's in his room with
And
his
he
headphones
rebelled.
and they're not knowing anything. They're thinking their kid is just, whatever.
He
But again,
totally, it sounds like he totally rebelled, because they're like, yeah, they were just saying, like,
he was hiding
especially
it behind their back because they had such pressure on him to be this Christian kid. And I'm going to pull up the videos of how he even started a prayer
and it
channel.
sounds like if he was like a musician and was always some sort of like artistic, had this like artistic skill that he wanted to develop, and they're saying that he can't access like other options for this, like, music, I could see him then completely going to the other side.
Well, he started gaming. So he would game on Fortnite. That's where the gaming comes in. He would game on Fortnite and he would make these compilation montages. And then his music started to get, the YouTube videos that he would post would get copyright claims because he was using regular music, I guess. And so by this time, maybe his parents already knew that he was listening to secular music. I'm not sure, because this is by the time he's like 16, 17. And so his mom is like, well, why don't you make your own music? And so then he would go into his sister's closet and use BandLab on his phone to make his own music so he could upload it to the montage. And then he became a SoundCloud rapper, which I just found out that Bad Bunny started as a SoundCloud rapper, which I didn't know that. I thought he just, started in the Puerto Rican music scene. But that's a big thing right now, where labels are getting people from young impressionable minds that like want to be famous, that just put out their stuff on SoundCloud, and then they get put into, because we were talking about Bad Bunny this morning, about how he's kind of started as like a normal kind of rapper, and then became, I mean, he was already kind of effeminate, but then it was like the dresses, and like his style just really changed, kind of like with Sam Smith and Lil Nas X. It's the same thing with David. David starts off kind of normal, then he starts getting like the nose piercings, the cheek piercings,
but that's like a teenage thing, to rebel. Like they do that stuff sometimes.
But it seemed like it went with like his image of like the music industry, like kind of like with Billie Eilish too, when she first started singing, as opposed to like what the image that was created for her in music videos and stuff, like this very dark undertone. That's what it seemed like to me, because I remember like artists like Sam Smith who just started like regularly singing music, and the next thing you know, it's like these devilish themes in there.
But like
I don't want to say curmudgeon-y, but it's like you could see the change in their fashion, you could see the change, and maybe it is just them evolving as artists or whatever. But
and like, because Billie Eilish, I mean, I adore her. I'm big on the animal welfare and whatnot, and she's like a vegan and has so much empathy and is just one of the sweetest people, and she talks on it a lot. And I just it's that's like, you can be artistic and explore all aspects of it. I want to know more about his parents. Like, because
we don't really know much about we know his dad is a lawyer, or he works for a law firm, basically consulting on like legal cases and what is it called, like digital forensics and stuff, for like to put together for legal cases. So he's and we know the mom hopped around in a lot of different jobs as well. But obviously she must have been a stay-at-home mom. No, there's not a lot about his dad at all. He's never talked publicly about his dad, and he's only talked about his mom before.
There you go. There's something there. And I'm just saying,
it could be with the father. So this is one of the scenes, the Sopranos trunk scene, that they're saying, he could have been talking about. This is his rehab video, which is so funny, because remember on the last episode that I did with David, I didn't play the audio. Well, somehow I still got copyright stricken, even though I didn't play the audio, just because I played. So hopefully it doesn't, because I put this image up, it doesn't recognize it. But yeah, I got a copyright thing from UMG. But this is his rehab video where he chops off the hand. And when people thought the Celeste was dismembered, they were, throwing it back to this video.
okay,
but it's just throwback to the Kill Bill hand chop scene is what they're saying, that it's not anything dark. He's just mimicking what's already out in the media.
Yeah. I mean, There's also, what's popular, because The Sopranos had, like, I just looked it up. They had an average of like 12 million viewers live per episode. Because remember, that's when you had to wait for it and it came out. So who knows how many people watched it, like recorded it or on repeats or whatever. But when an episode would drop, it said average 12 million viewers per episode. So it's like, if that was really causing, people to act out, we would be seeing a lot more bodies in cars. And so it doesn't add up to me. I don't buy these excuses at all. I'm sorry. I'm so devil's advocate. I thought we were, yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. And like, it's the media when you're exposed to it as well. It's like if your kid is in his room watching Kill Bill at 13 or 12, I mean, that's why there's all these age limits and stuff like that on it, I think, as well.
Yeah.
And I think it's like the parents not talking about it with their kids as well. Like, I feel like if your kid is exposed to this, obviously, because there's kids, I mean, there's 7 or 8-year-olds who are exposed to FNAF, and the themes in FNAF are not light. It's about a man who is a PDF file. FNAF, let me pull it up.
This is so funny while you pull that up. Jesse and Max said, Blake Lively's sister caused a rift in my family for an entire year. What? Jesse and Max. That is wild. I need to know more.
So this is FNAF, and they have a book series and everything, and it's just crazy. The story of the writer, Scott Coffin, he was writing Christian books and like about these like making a video game that was like real wholesome, and then he got made fun of. And so then he like was going to quit. And instead he makes this really dark video game that basically now is all over the place. Kids as young as 8 years old. You see these little like stuffed animals style animatronics. It's kind of like Chuck E. Cheese animatronics. And it's the story of this PDF file guy who was unaliving little kids. And then their souls would get trapped in these animatronics.
Oh my God.
These are like 8-year-olds. And parents go and buy their stuffies, little kids, and it's like really, really dark themes. And a lot of parents don't even know that that's what it is. They're like, "Oh, it's
does it have a rating?"
It's a video game. I believe the rating is 13 plus, but and the same thing with other things such as like let me pull up Siren Head. Siren Head, the guy who drew this actually said like my animation is only for so this is Siren Head that also had kids as young as 8 years old. It was this animation of this giant, like, I don't know if you guys know what like creepypasta is, but it's like these like lore or like figures that are fake. They basically make fake animations and write stories behind them, kind of like spooky stories. But this is for like adults, and his animation was for adults only. And then they started making stuffed animals out of them, and there was little kids as young as 8 years old. And it's also like another has really, really dark themes on his lore and all that stuff. So it's also about like what you're like being mindful of what your kids are consuming, because all the kids in like 2nd, 3rd grade were into Siren Head and FNAF at this time. So this was like a couple of years ago. Like in 2020 when it was like really, really big. And so your kid was exposed to it at school, and then they'd come home and they'd be like, oh, FNAF this or that. And I got into it because I like the FNAF movie, and I ended up like falling into the rabbit hole of who the author was and all that stuff. But yeah, so it was these kids that would go to school. The parents wouldn't know any better and would buy them the merch, would buy them the books, would buy them the video game, because it started off as a video game, and little kids were playing it like, oh, it's just a scary game, like a jump scare game. But once you get into the lore of what it is, and as you find like little notes in the game and stuff, it starts to explain this alcoholic guy who goes out and murders little kids because he's a PDF file. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. But let me see what else we have on the David thing. Let me close that tab.
Well, I have my thoughts on that is, again, I would want to know about his behaviors from, before the gospel music change or whatever, because usually there are more signs, like if someone is inclined to do something, and maybe, the whatever he was seeking out validated his thoughts in his mind or something. But there's usually more clear signs. And like, like if he harmed animals, or like if he, there's usually something. so I would be very curious if like anyone comes out of the woodworks and like has any stories with interacting with him like in his childhood. And the second thing is, oh, you know, and I also think if he had this like talent for making music and his parents cut that off and said, you know, like you can only listen to this kind, and I think that probably would do something where he would go to the extreme, you know, especially with like if he wants to build that talent. Like I feel like that would be really hard for someone like that. It's like someone who's like, I have a friend who was like, she's amazing at tennis and her parents wouldn't let her play at all because they said like it was not good for her religion.
His parents were really supportive once he was making the music and how he was making it. Because I believe before this, he was playing classical piano and expressing himself through there. And then that's when his mom was like, well, you know how to play piano and you know how to do all this stuff. But instead he went into band lab and started to make music more of like, so his mom must have found out at some point, because why else? How else?
Well, because he was making money. I think there's something with the parents. And Christina said it could also be at teenage years. Yes, exactly. Like teenage years, they do crazy things. They want to be emo. Like there's so much going on. It's the whole thing is wild to me.
Yeah, and Christina said creepypasta. Yes, they were responsible for Slender Man, which was the girls who ended up unaliving their friend because they were too young to be exposed to that content.
Yeah, well, she's also a mental case.
Yeah, so so that's what Geeky keeps saying. He's saying that it doesn't matter what they're exposed to. Like you can be exposed to like Chucky at a young age or whatever. Like I watched Chucky when I was really young. I watched.
Me too.
Again, I was into horror most of my like teenage years and all that stuff up until like, you know, my early 20s. I don't really do horror anymore, but you know, I was into cannibal movies. I was into all that. And I watched Chucky when I was like 8 or 9 years old.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing is like
to murder. Yeah. That's
Kill Bill and The Sopranos. Like those are like huge, like hit shows. And you're not seeing people like just, if there was a correlation, we would be seeing it a lot more. And I just think people can't blame it on that. And Christina made another good comment. She said she finds it fascinating how siblings can be raised in the same household and have two completely different outcomes. And my goodness, I don't know if anyone saw the, I think, did I post that yesterday of the Jeffrey Spence trial where the one daughter is just like the parents. The dad is, he was accused of killing the dad was accused of killing his daughter's boyfriend for a life insurance thing. And then, but the other daughter, she's not like her parents or her sister at all. Like, and I posted her testimony. It was some of the best testimony I've ever seen on a witness stand. Like she gave it back so good to this lawyer. I felt like amazing. And it ended in a mistrial today, which I can't wrap my mind around, but it is interesting because her parents both her parents were bad. One was a schizophrenic, the other was a sociopath.
Oh, okay. So this is the latest on the homicide investigation. So finally, like you said, a lot of this, why people start supporting these people. So that was the gist of like what we're talking about in the media and whether glamorizing homicide. And I think that most of us think that glamorizing homicide in media doesn't lead to it has to be some underlying issue, whether it's from the parents or from like their mental illness, like a predisposed already a mental illness. But this is what he said, the PIO. He's saying the Los Angeles Police Department's Robbery Homicide Division has been diligently investigating the death of Celeste Rivas Hernandez over the past several weeks. At this time, we can confirm that she is deceased and her body was found in the front trunk, which is called a frunk. I learned that.
I know. I remember I told you that. I was like, it's a frunk.
The frunk of a Tesla belonging to David Burke. So this is what David's real name is without the 4 in it. The vehicle has been parked at the location from which it was towed for several weeks. So Miss Rivas Hernandez may have been deceased for several weeks before the discovery of her body. So now we can do the timeline, which SF Investigates had already sleuthed it out, that it was tagged on August 26th. And then it was called in August 26th, tagged on the 27th, ticketed on the 3rd, and then ticketed again on the 5th, which is when they impounded it. And so we know that by the time they found it, it was September 8th. So it had already been, 31 days. So that's
a month.
5. So it was, no, not a month. It was from August 26th to September 8th was
Oh, September 8th. Oh, so that's only a few
13
weeks.
days, so 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So from the time that the vehicle was tagged, it was 2 weeks. But they're saying that she was already deceased from the time that it was tagged for several weeks. So the timeline used to be that he had a break in between concerts between the 26th and the 30th. And because the car was tagged on the 26th, a lot of people thought the timeline that if he did do it, it would have been on the 26th when he had that break. And then he had another break between the 1st and the 2nd. And so a lot of people thought maybe he could have done it between the 1st and the 2nd because it was ticketed on the 3rd. But now that we know that it was called on the 26th, and none of this says that there was a smell, or the person who ticketed the car didn't say they noticed a smell or anything.
So it couldn't have been that like too long. Like, it must have only been, I mean, because after like, I want to say at least like a month, then there would be no way that you would not be able to smell it.
Yeah, a lot of people said that because it was parked by the hedge and there was like rat problems and like it was like raining, I guess, and there was, stagnant water and stuff. So some people, I don't know if it's true or not, but some people talked to the neighbors and said that they did smell something, but they thought it was like a dead animal or like sewage or something. They didn't think anything of it. But that has not been confirmed. So this is just stuff from Reddit that supposedly neighbors had said. But it would depend on whether somebody smelled it or not, because now the new timeline has been moved because she was last heard of, according to her friends. And this is also, just people that say were her friends. Nothing has been confirmed yet. Was they heard about her at the end of July 31st, around there, beginning of August.
And Christina said that, it only takes days to start to smell. And that is so true. I mean, I was in an apartment complex, and a neighbor in a different building upstairs had passed, and it was during COVID. And everyone was like, there's a smell. We thought it was a sewage leak. So I went over there and I could not get that smell out. And that was we think at the most it was like 7 days, and it was so bad. And there's another, have you seen Explore With Us? That it's like a crime. They always do like body cam footage of crime stuff of different killers.
Mm-hmm.
One of the more recent ones, it has like one of the highest views. It was this lady who both her niece and nephew were dead in the car. She had them like one in a suitcase, like one in a container, and had been driving around with them for months. And it smelled so bad they couldn't even keep her in the interview room. And like there's just the cops smelled it as soon as like they were by the car when they pulled her over. And so I mean, I bet it was, if it had been 3
he had
weeks,
an air freshener he had the air fresheners. And it's funny because a police officer commented when SF Investigates posted it that he has a screenshot of the front of the vehicle. There's an air freshener hanging in. Someone's like, who puts an air freshener in a Tesla like that? But maybe, who knows? But
an air freshener is not going to do anything for a dead body.
Law enforcement officer said that's like, it's like a joke between law enforcement, that it's like when people have the little tree air fresheners like that in a bunch, that it's like trying to hide a smell, like whether it's
Kenny says, can you imagine going nose blind to a dead body? No, Kenny, she was a prostitute. So like, I was like, how is she getting work? Like, because like everyone could smell this around her. It was like, and you guys, if you see the video, it's so funny. The cops like come in the room, like when they're detained, and is spraying with Febreze. And finally they're like, we just got to let's take her to like a bigger warehouse or something, like where we can handle the smell. It was so bad.
That's the weird part. Christina was saying that the psychotic stuff was not about the girls in your case. It was about
Slender Man.
Yeah. Okay. Hey,
yes,
Quarter, thanks
crazy.
for joining us. I appreciate you coming. And we kind of just went over like the media stuff and whether it's the parents or what. But so this is what SF Investigates, and I love his work. So you guys give him a follow if Christina can put his stuff in there. He's my main go-to for the David stuff. As well as Lauren Conlon too, because they're really good about like their reporting and checking their facts and all that. But he was saying that now with this new statement that the PD just put out, it goes with his timeline, because it says that he went on tour and for his out-of-state shows on August 6th, which he had 2 shows in California. So that's why he started at August 6th, which was out of state. But his tour actually started on the 31st of July, I believe. And that adds up with when, the timeline that most sleuths have for when it could have occurred was before he went on tour. And he's like, it's not easy to get a car towed for abandonment. It had to have been there. And so he's saying that it was there for at least several weeks, up to a month, because of the dirt that was caked on. Thank you, DFJ. I appreciate it. There's the link to SF.
And I'm also linking to that video of the one I was talking about.
Cool. So it says this will cause a problem in investigation because most security cameras only keep, stuff for 30 days. So some of the neighborhood cameras may have been erased prior to this, but we don't know what all they have. So back to the statement, they're saying the medical examiner has not. So one of the nuggets that we found out was that she was unalive for several weeks. So we do know it was several weeks. Now, what is several? Is that 2? Is that 3? Is that 4? He's saying it's about a month based on the dirt that was piled on.
What did he think was going to happen to this car, or whoever did this? I don't understand.
Well, I know that there was someone who found a Tesla card in like the gutter. And so my working theory was like whoever was supposed to be moving the car for him or whatever lost the card and couldn't move it anymore, because people were saying that it was being moved around prior to it sitting there for a while.
How hard is it to get a new card?
I don't know, but if he was on tour and they couldn't get one, but then someone's like, they could have done it with an app on the phone. So this is obviously speculation.
Like, I feel like that would be really important if he was told to move the car.
Some people said maybe he ran out of time and didn't have anywhere else to put it and put it in there, but it could have not been him. So today people were saying that he would have got a notification if he had the app, if his trunk was open, because there's a thing with the Teslas that will notify you when your trunk gets opened or closed. And that's going to be what's going to, that's what got Barry MORPHEW, who we're going to be talking about here. We might go into an hour and a half because we've got 5 minutes and I still got to go into those other cases. But Barry MORPHEW, that's how they got him, was through the telemetrics of the car. They could see, he basically said, oh, he left his wife asleep in the bed and got in his truck and left for work, when the telemetrics of the car showed the car door opening, the car door closing, the car backing up, the car moving forward. Like they got all of the telemetrics of his car and showed that he lied. And so the Tesla obviously is more high tech than that.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be, part of the evidence on who opened it when. If it was when he was on tour, was it already on the 31st? Was it when he was not in LA? There was speculation that Josh Marshall, his manager, lived there with him, but he's saying, no, I lived with my family. If this is indeed him on TikTok that came out with the statement, the manager came out because SF Investigates basically said that someone had messaged him about an email that they had sent Josh Marshall, the manager, when Celeste first ran away, and then that she showed up back at the house. So this was the first time she ran away. And so he clarified on a TikTok message, basically saying like, that is not true. I did not know that. I did not live with David. I did not have any of my vehicles there, even though someone ran the plate when the police was there doing the search warrant, and you could see inside the garage, someone ran the plate of the red Tesla. There was another Tesla parked inside, and it came back to Josh Marshall. So I don't know if that was just speculation and that person actually didn't really run it or what.
Yeah, because
a lot of this is just speculation and we don't know because people are just posting stuff. But I do trust SF Investigates, and he did say that he received, or that, he got that tip and that email was sent to the police. So I at first was like, well, Josh might be a suspect. In my first episode, I suspected him because I was like, if he was, in that house, living in that house or around them, could it have been him? Could he have had a relationship as well with her? And then also his brother was David's younger brother, living in that house, or was he living in Houston with his parents? Because we see a video of who we think is Celeste Rivas back in May or June of 2024, right after she went missing.
March. And that was, because remember when I first learned that, I was like, who has camera footage that can save that long? But it was because she first went missing, and the sister.
No. This is the one where she's backstage and it's her and it's his brother. So it's his brother going backstage behind a curtain. And I believe it was either May or June, one of his shows. And the girl has curly hair and is wearing the Hello Kitty slippers, just like the one Celeste went missing in. And so people thought it was her. And I'm like, well, was the brother messing with her? But now we know that there's, the stream where where David was streaming with her. So he must have known her. So I was like, he might be a suspect if he was in that house too. Whoever was in that house might be a suspect. At this time, they're saying that they don't have any suspects or pursuing anything because they're saying they have not yet determined the cause. So the cause is what caused it. The manner of death is either
well, at least now they're saying it's homicide. Like she
they're
didn't
not
fall in
saying
there.
it's homicide. They cleared it up. So I'm going to pull that one up. They're not saying it's homicide. They're saying there's no cause or manner of death yet. As such, it remains unclear whether there is any criminal culpability beyond the concealment of her body. So they're saying like it could have been she died from like, you know, suicide or an overdose or something. Like they can't say that it's homicide yet. And that's why I'm thinking that the dismemberment of the body isn't true, because if her body was dismembered, it would be homicide right away. They would be able to say this is the cause and not defer it. They're thoroughly examining every case to uncover the truth and seek justice. We appreciate the public's patience. Further updates will be provided. But this is where TMZ comes in, and they got more info on it right here. The death certificate defers cause of death and said that she was not pregnant. So there are people who are saying that they're waiting on the toxicology reports to figure it out, because there's which one is manner and which one is death. Do you know, DFJ?
For what?
Because is manner, oh, that's the way she died. Cause of death would be, okay, so I think cause of death,
Yeah.
natural, suicide, homicide.
No. So manner of death would be like if it's the cause would be like the actual. So like let's say it was the manner of death. It was like a homicide. It was
okay. So I have
strangulation. And the cause of death. You know, it would be like the it would be you know, the asphyxiation or whatever. Like whatever the medical
cause would be. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think there's 4. I'm trying to remember what the 4th one is. It's natural causes, suicide, homicide, and then there's a 4th one that I'm like, I can't. It's at the tip of my
accident.
Yeah, maybe accidental. Maybe that's the 4th one. But right
also,
now, they only know that somebody messed with her body. So there is no, like, they're not looking at any suspects or anything like that. So TMZ also had the little nugget that on the death certificate. So for everyone who said that she was pregnant and that's why he might have unalived her, those rumors were put to rest because she was not pregnant due to that.
Quarter Fate said, right, she hid it in the trunk and dismembered herself. I mean, exactly. Like, obviously someone did this.
Well, I don't know if the dismemberment part is true, because SF Investigates also said that there was never any statement from law enforcement saying, and it could have been the deterioration of like the bones falling off from
it's really hard for bones to fall off.
Because LAPD, I feel like if she was dismembered, they would have said this is a homicide, because that's obviously, like, I mean, the manner of death, she's chopped up. Somebody chopped her up. It's a homicide.
Okay,
so
I need to listen. I swear,
I don't think she was
said it was homicide.
Up. No, they have not ruled homicide. That's the thing, that a lot of people are reporting homicide, but they cleared it up right here. It's saying at this time, they have not determined a cause and there is no criminal culpability beyond the concealment of her body.
It is the robbery homicide division.
Well, they're just saying it's the concealment of her body. That's they're saying they're not pursuing any suspects. Maybe they're holding stuff close to the vest. But as far as official word from that's what a lot of people, that's what I told Lauren when Lauren posted, like, why is Fox LA saying homicide? Has it been declared homicide? Because until the death certificate has cause of death as a homicide, it's saying deferred on the death certificate. And now here they're clarifying it. And then they gave TMZ another little scoop. Let me see where.
And Quarter Fate said, but who was ever moving the car? Wouldn't they smell the body? Yeah, definitely. So I think whoever was moving the car is probably the person who might be involved with this, in my opinion. There's just no getting away from that smell. And honestly, when I smelled it that one time, like I couldn't get it out of my system. Like it was like, it just overtakes you. And I wasn't even like anywhere near the body. I mean, I was on the same floor when I, walked by it, but it's very, very distinct. It's like, it wouldn't just be a random sewer smell. Like it smells like, I can't even describe what it smells like, because I've never smelled anything like that before.
So yeah, I don't know for right now they're saying but yeah, you're right. It is the robbery and homicide division. And that's why I thought Fox LA kept referring to it as a homicide, because the homicide division, but who else would investigate it if it was a potential homicide, because they found a body. So I'm thinking like that's just who would, you know, go out. It doesn't necessarily mean. But because there's, you know, not a lot of information and no suspect out or anything, a lot of people now that it's been 2 weeks. So before, people were obviously calling him a PDF file because of this relationship. But now he's having supporters come out on TikTok basically saying like, you know, the police now came out with a statement saying he's not a suspect and that they don't even know if a crime was committed. Just besides the concealment of a body.
What
like
is the date on that?
On what?
On the police statement? Because I swear,
Today.
I mean, it was today.
Yeah, today.
Got it. Okay. So then, yeah, because Ashley Banfield she had SF Investigates on, and I was listening yesterday, and they both said that at least now they're admitting was like a homicide. But Christina's 100% right. This is exactly right. She says they have to investigate every suspicious death as a homicide until ruled otherwise. Even a suicide is looked into by homicide just to make sure. Yeah, unless it's like, you know, the Ellen Greenberg case or you know,
well, they ruled
the
it
OpenAI
right
one.
away.
Oh my God.
That's the reason why they didn't investigate homicide, because right away when they walked in, they're like, oh, it's suicide, which was really weird because she was all stabbed up. So yeah, that was the weird one where they didn't investigate it.
And the OpenAI, the guy, the whistleblower.
Oh yeah, that one. Oh, that one is a fun one.
Oh my God, that's a heartbreaker. And
I saw Tucker Carlson interviewing him, and it was so funny.
No.
Interview. Yeah, he interviewed
of the parents of the OpenAI, the whistleblower who was murdered.
Yeah, he Tucker Carlson interviews Sam Altman, and he's like, it doesn't make sense. He's like, do you think it makes sense? And he just catches him up so many times. But he's like, are you accusing me? And he's like, no, I'm not accusing you. I'm just asking you. Like, he gets so defensive. It's the craziest
he
interview.
Interviewed Sam Altman after he interviewed the parents.
Yeah, he interviewed Sam Altman. Yep.
How did that not get on my feed? That is crazy. I need to look that up. That is insane.
But really quick, I'm not going to play it all the way for you, but a lot of people were bringing this video up. So he had a prayer channel, where he was posting, you know, about sin and forgiveness. And some people, so this was posted on September 1st. Some people said he was feeling guilty because he hadn't posted on the prayer channel for a while. And then he started posting these things. And some people noticed that in the back, there's a black trash bag. But I'm like, would he have left the video up? But supposedly Celeste was in a black trash bag. So I don't know if this is any kind of proof of what she was wrapped in, or if this is going to be used as evidence, but a lot of people think so.
Christina said he needs forgiveness for that hair.
Oh, I know, right?
What is that?
He just died. I'm telling you, he changed his whole look. And then even with this upcoming thing, it was like he had like green eyes, and he was basically taking on his other persona, I guess, which is weird because the manga that he was writing was about a detective who has split personalities, and the other personality is committing the murders, but then he's solving them, not knowing that it's him that's committing them. So yeah, that was pretty weird.
It gets a little shaky on the walk because there's so many different things going on.
Talks about
and we kind of can't get shaky on the walk. Just being completely transparent, it gets a little shaky on the walk because there's so many different things going on, and we kind of can't get wrapped up in the ebbs and flows of everyday life, and we got to keep on depending on Jesus, especially like now. Like, the world is crazy. Like, the world is crazy. But I just want to say, do not lose hope. Do not lose your faith. We arrive on this earth with nothing. We spend our years chasing everything, and then we're going to die with nothing. So just make sure your spiritual hands are full before you leave this earth. Read that Bible, stay in that word, stay inspired, stay prayed up. But going back to the imposter syndrome thing, it's like you got to stand on what you believe in no matter what. Stand at 10 toes on literally everything, bro. You cannot fold on Jesus. Jesus will not fold on you, so you cannot fold on Jesus.
So he goes into scripture, but then here's another video that he had posted also. And this one was on the 18th of September. Oh, no, this is when it was reposted. So I'm not sure when this was posted. I'm trying to think of when it was. This is when it was reposted. But it was all around the same time in like the beginning of while he was on tour. So I don't know if this is his Houston home, because I remember that he had visited his parents and he was in the closet like making a song. There was another video, but here's another.
I just hope that they put out like they handle this better than with the Idaho fort. Like, you know, if they're not get like putting out things like, what about people who need to like save their security footage? Like you said, you know, like if they were moving the car around that block, like if there's things they know, they should at least like be, I don't know. I just feel like they're holding a lot close to the chest right now. And when was she found? It was in August?
No, she was found September
3rd or 8th.
September 8th, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's been like 20 days, you know, so like I don't know.
More. But I'm sure that they scoured right away when they found it in the trunk and they found his house. I'm sure they scoured all those houses right away and talked to the neighbors right away. I'm hoping that that's what they did.
You would hope, but remember in Idaho 4, they didn't even go like the main highway. They didn't even go to those businesses.
The way that they identified her was because TMZ, that's also sus. And what we're trying to figure out is that TMZ got a tip. Who tipped TMZ and who didn't call that tip to law? That's TMZ. So basically
that's the story.
They found her body and then they didn't know whose body it was. They just said it was in the trunk of David's car. He was still going on tour. It was just kind of like, oh, well, his car was probably stolen, not knowing that it was found right in front of his house or around the block from his house, whatever. And so most people, I assumed, people sent it to me and I'm like, it's a nothing burger. His car probably got stolen. Somebody probably committed a crime in it. Like, it's a nothing burger. But TMZ got a tip saying it's Celeste Rivas, her name and everything. That's who it is. And somehow got the mom's information. Or I don't know if TMZ sleuthed the mom's information to call her to ask her. And then once they called the mom, TMZ called the mom and the mom verified that, yeah, she had a boyfriend named David and that they had matching tattoos or something like that. The tattoo information had not been given by law enforcement. They just said what she was wearing. They never said she had a tattoo to identify.
I saw the tattoo thing, yeah.
So that came from the mom. And then that's when TMZ was like, oh, we need to contact law enforcement. And then they contacted law enforcement. And then that's how they identified her, was through that tip and the mom. And probably forensics that maybe the mom provided as far as dental records or something.
Yeah.
But this was the other video that he had.
Are you sharing something on the screen?
I don't want to do, and I hate what I do. And if I do what I don't want to do, I agree that the law is good. As it is, I am no longer myself who does those things, but the sin living in me. For I know that the good itself does not dwell in me, and that it's the sinful nature that dwells in me. For I have the desire to do what is good, but I cannot carry it out. For I do not the good that I want to do, but the evil that I don't want to do, this I keep on doing. Now, if I do what I don't want to do, it is no longer I who did it, but the sin living in me that does it. And this is Paul talking about his struggles with sin and how he cannot overcome that overwhelming urge to continue to do wrong, although he knows right from wrong and good and bad.
So both of these videos he posted like around this time. So a lot of people think it was his conscience eating him up. I don't know, but that's the thing that has been my Roman Empire, because he was religious. His parents brought him up in a Christian home. The only thing I can think of is that he was overly put into it and was like rebelling against it. And, maybe, and because his brain didn't mature, because of the isolation that he experienced through the homeschooling years and not being around other kids. Cause he was basically saying like all he knew about the real world was his backyard. And then when he turns 17, he gets all this money, he got $3 million at 17 and goes out into the real world. So let me see what else is. Lauren is always late. Oh, Lauren is going. Lauren Conlon, or which Lauren?
No, Lauren, our Lauren.
Why was their documents dropped?
Yeah, so it was that Blake Lively just responded to Wayfair's opposition to her 47.1 fees, and so I said I definitely, we should definitely go watch Lauren. But I said I can tell you what it says. Blah blah blah. Lawfully. Blah blah blah. Wayfair filed this for PR. Paid, coordinated, and traceable. Hamas, 100 million. Blah blah blah. Wow, sanctions. Because
like all of this. Yeah. Oh, I hadn't put it up yet. Okay, so you guys were able to listen to it. Okay. Yeah, so we're almost through here. We're gonna get into the Luigi Mangione. So yeah, just wrapping up the David thing. Like, I don't know. To me, my Roman Empire, Thank you so much for being replay crew. It's too late for this old lady. Have a good night, PB. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's become my Roman Empire. I literally just sleuthed it out for like 2 whole weeks of like, what could have led him to do this? Why would he do this? How did he do this? Like, and I always just feel so sorry for the parents. Like, even with the Tyler thing, which the psychiatrist was also talking about, the Charlie Kirk guy, it's like they were also LDS and religious and stuff, and supposedly doing all they could. And so I think that with me being a Christian, I have to like reconcile that, because it's like Christianity is not always a good thing when it's overdone. I feel like when it's overly pushed and you're not like you don't reconcile Christianity with like the outside world. I feel like that's when people mess up. It's like when you become too religious and then they want to like not have religion. But I mean, it seems like he was struggling with something, because he's putting this prayer channel out, and it could have been fame. I know Lil Nas X talks a lot about the demons and stuff, and he actually went into a psychosis. You saw what happened with him. Kanye has also talked about it. It's not for the weak. This is hours and hours of work. You're not really treated as like a human being, really, because I mean, Justin Bieber talks about it too. You're just keep going and going and going. And he tried to lean on religion.
Well, we definitely, I think like we need more, to the story here. Like, because if it was him, that is something that's like ingrained in them. It's like, it's one of those, remember evil, like evil exists. If it was him, we don't know who it is. I'm just saying, if it was, there could be, maybe he, she wanted to leave him. He didn't want her to leave, it could be so many different things. It's like, usually it's something from within them, or it could have been an accident or something. And he freaked out and that, put her in the car and was like, I'll let God deal with it. Maybe
he got scared because he's young and he doesn't know how to deal with like things. But some of the stuff that he was reposting on his TikTok prior to this, on January 2024, he posted something saying, "Me watching her scream after I poured boiling water on her after she told the boy happy birthday, because what do you mean you're happy he made it another year?"
Oh,
and it was captioned over a man like pouring boiling water in the sink or something. And then on the February of 2024, and so this is before she ran away, because she ran away in May of 2024. But he's like, when she accuses you of cheating, like you haven't changed your whole lifestyle, invested money, cut off all your friends and family just to make her happy. And so a lot of people thought that was about Celeste. And then it said June of 2024. It was somebody cutting up deli meat. And it had a caption over it, says, this is what I do. Like, I'd cut up my significant other if they're talking with other dudes, or something about like chopping them like deli meat. This is what I would do.
It definitely seems like, I mean, if that's true, like there's something, that should probably be looked into. Those are not normal things to say.
Yeah. And that's what the psychiatrist was saying. She's like, it used to be you had the normal telltale signs, which was like killing animals, all this stuff. But now that like darkness is used as a form of expression or art, like it's hard for parents to tell, like, is my kid just expressing something, or are they?
You can tell.
Are they really dark? So were the signs missed? Like we said, he never talks about his father publicly.
Like you
could it have been lack of a dad in his life? Was his dad always working? There's always that whole.
Was there abuse? Like, was there?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot more. I feel like it doesn't like do a lot of justice to totally speculate, but I feel like it's a very crazy story, and hopefully that they handle this better than they did Idaho 4, so that.
And LAPD is really, really slow too. That's the thing. It's such a big department that they're saying like, everything's going to go slow, and they might not have enough people. I don't know how many detectives they have on this or what, but I mean, obviously they're now taking it seriously, because now there's a POI, which I was like, dude, for a huge department, a high level celebrity. And where is his lawyer, Blair Burke, who's supposed to be, we talked about it on our show. Where is she? Where's her statement saying, no, he didn't do it? Like, there should have been a statement from the Interscope or something saying, sorry about this girl. Like, we're looking into it. But at this time, he didn't do it. Some people say if you were truly innocent, but other people say, some attorneys will advise to just stay silent.
Well, were they together still?
apparently from his music, it seemed like they weren't, and nobody had seen her. He had basically like replaced her with like lookalikes, which I also think was kind of weird.
So
like,
he never said like
her in July, like what SF thinks, right? Then in July, he starts hanging out with this other Celeste and making her wear the same Gap sweatshirt and the same black glasses. So I'm wondering if he was trying to create a distraction. It was really weird. And
like, did he ever put out a statement like saying like, you know, we're heartbroken to hear
nothing
that of the law? I mean, that's like a red flag to me. Like if it was someone that, even if it was like an ex, I mean, I would still want to, with his platform, you know, to at least say something like.
And then when they said it was a curly hair girl, why didn't he say, oh, like, did he originally say that the car was stolen or anything?
Why? I don't know, but I think you're right. Like at a minimum, he could have put out a statement and just said, you know, like we're devastated to hear about what happened to Celeste, even though, you know, I hadn't seen her in this long, whatever. You didn't even have to say that, but just at least put out a statement about, you know, the loss. I mean, that's kind of, if he had nothing to do with it, but you know, everyone can handle things in their own way.
And then they're like, maybe the criminal attorney, because Blair Burke is, she was part of, I believe, Harvey Weinstein's team. She got CeeLo out of, you know, his SA stuff, but I don't know if she's ever done a murder case. Well, she did the one, a football player who unalived somebody who he was texting and driving. But from what I saw from her work, and then somebody else sent me a little nugget that she was actually the person who was behind constructing Britney's conservatorship. And I was like, what the heck? I was like, okay, I don't want no smoke with Blair Burke. So
well, it's
I ain't
funny
gonna deep dive her anymore. But
when you told me the episode was going to be romanticizing serial killers, I totally thought you meant like the women who become obsessed.
Yeah, that's the second half of the show. Sorry,
I
was like, too much about
I wasn't prepared. I was like,
here he is in a bronze statue. Because the first part was romanticizing homicide in the media, and then the second part is romanticizing homicide at the actual killers. But so here's the gold statue that was put on him.
You have to share screen, but before you do, can I just say, Christina, you're gonna make me cry. The Quarter Fate said that she loves both of us and that I need to get monetized. And Christina said, yeah, she does. I put her stuff on a playlist and play it at night and get some more hours. I did it for CJ as well. That like means so much to me, that because like, yeah, like it's impossible right now for me to get hours unless thank
you so much. Gas station coffee for tomorrow morning, huh? Because I'm all up late. Thank you so much, Quarter Fate. I really appreciate your support.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's gonna be for StreamYard fees. I'm using any money I'm getting right now for StreamYard fees. But I figured out why it was charging me so much. It's because somehow the toggle had moved to me being charged monthly. So I guess you save 50% off if you just pay, weekly. If you pay monthly, you get it 50% off. And so it would be like basically comes down to like $9 a week instead of $18 a week.
And listen to this. Missy said that she does that too, and she's a member of your channel. Did you see that? She's green.
Oh yes, thank you so much, Missy. I appreciate that. I'm gonna have to get little badges for you.
That's so cool.
I've only done it for 3 creators. Oh, that's really cool because it does up the views, and then with the ads, you make like a couple cents here and there when the ads show.
That is like so nice. She did it. Christina said she did it for you as well, for you to get the hours, because you have to get like, I think you have to get 3,000 hours to get monetized. So I'm at like 1,700. So I definitely have a long ways to go, and but I'll keep putting stuff out.
We'll make custom emojis right now to become a member. The citizen perks. It's just you guys are just helping me, keep the show production going with StreamYard and stuff. But eventually, I'll have perks. Y'all are just supporting my coffee and my streaming software. But eventually, I'll have perks that I offer for members. It's $2.99 to become a member, and it does give you a highlight so I can see your comments. And it should give you like a free super chat. Missy, I don't know. See if you have it on your comments. Do you have like a free super chat? Somebody says it's at the bottom right-hand corner. When you're a member, you get one free one a month. That gets like a free super chat comment. Oh, hey, House of Chatter. So anyway, so this is the bronze thing. We just talked a bunch about David because it was pretty spicy. But if you guys want to know more about David, go check out the deep dive on David. We go more in depth on it. But this is a bronze statue that was put up, and he's only been famous for a little bit, but he's from Houston. And it says Fountain of Feels, made in collaboration with Spotify's in-house creative team, launched in late August as part of Spotify's Bummer Summer campaign. Celebrating David as one of music's most iconic and emotive artists, we cast a statue in bronze and tears to celebrate all of the artists who put us in our feels. And let me see if it's, so yeah, there it is. And there's David next to it. So it's about like glamorizing this. So he's, now in a statue of gold. And like I said, all these women have just recently come out on TikTok saying like, he didn't do it. The police already is saying. So I don't know if it's like PR bots or if it's real people or what, because prior to this, in the last couple of weeks, I mean, people were like livid with him. Like he had not one, I did not see a single person saying he could be or he might be innocent. Everybody was like, he's guilty, he's guilty, he's guilty. And obviously he's innocent until proven guilty because he hasn't even been named as a suspect. It's just found in his vehicle. But all of a sudden now there's people who are like, I support him. Like, this could have been anything. This could have been someone from his team that did it. Like he was on tour. Obviously the tour alibi doesn't really sit anymore, that we know that the car was sitting there for more than a month.
But we saw this. I mean, we've seen this when it takes a long time. There's people doing
mental gymnastics saying someone in the in the tow yard put the body in there because nobody smelt it before. But I'm like, but what? They put a body of somebody he knew? Like what? Like other people are saying that it was a message to him, that somebody else did it and framed him.
Well,
so
that's
there's
why
already all these conspiracy theories.
Yeah,
having evidence is important.
We have to wait, and it's like in the LAPD, like you said, they're slow. They need to get on this then, because it's gonna get out of hand if they don't. And like if there is like it's just it gets insane, because like you said, like they're like people are coming out and they were calling in and asking for more information. It's not that hard to pull the camera stuff off the Tesla. I mean, it has like a whole database of things that they should be able to put together. But
because that's how we were with Kohberger. Remember speculating on whether it was
insane
boyfriend Jack, whether it was like so many people went through so much stuff, and it looks like Josh Marshall is going through it now. His manager,
exactly.
People are
and
now
all these people are going to be
Marshall was he involved? Did he know? And the PDF stuff is different too, because people are like, he needs to be locked up, and I'm like, well, what evidence do they have about the PDF stuff? They have these Discord messages that we don't know if they're legit or not. I went into the Discord servers and I did see some, but it said deleted user. We don't know if that was Celeste or not, if the deleted user was Celeste or not. We know that I definitely don't want to
add. I definitely don't want to add to the speculation, but I would definitely think that people need to wait for the facts, like you said. And I linked SF Investigates. He was a good one, like you said, Lauren Conlon, and because this is going to get crazy. I bet like the Reddit is off the charts for this.
Yeah, and there's so much AI images where they're like, oh, this is them pictured on whatever, and then it turned out it was an AI image. So that's why I went back this weekend and I told Lauren Conlon, sorry, because I know we have two Laurens. I told Lauren Conlon, I was like, I'm sleuthing out the timeline because there's so much misinformation that I want to see when's the last time she was physically seen with him. And that was in the January 2024 stream that they did together. And then after that, all the pictures are from before then. So I was like, so was he seen or pictured with her or on a stream or anything after that January 20, like after she ran away? Because she ran away in May, remember?
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, so Brian Kohberger, back to Brian Kohberger. So this is about idolizing, he's got this statue and people were idolizing, not knowing, what was going on behind the scenes in his life or whatever it was. So a lot of people I guess, knew that he dated a 13-year-old or whatever. So
that's weird.
Idolizing celebrities, especially, just be cautious because we don't know. We don't know. A lot of people were like, he was so quiet, he would never do something like that. So it's different because he's a celebrity, whereas these people were not. So there was already like some kind of idolatry before that. But Brian Kohberger was not. And so this is the part where he was influenced supposedly by Elliot Rodger, who unalived college kids.
That was debunked.
Elliot Rodger, this was really?
Yes, that was debunked. But so he definitely.
I thought this was his the people that he went to school with.
Kind of studied, but people keep wanting to put the Elliot Rodgers, and he was more into the Ted Bundy was his like more of his idol of serial killers. It wasn't really Elliot Rodgers. And I don't know who started. I think maybe, yeah, because they had to do one project or something at the school. I don't know how that got started.
Celebrate had images of him Googling Elliot Rodgers in the Celebrate stuff.
But not as much as the Bundy. He was obsessed with Bundy.
Okay. Well, I brought up Elliot Rodger only because the movie Scream is based on him, which he unalived college kids, and then Kevin Williamson saw it and then made the movie Scream. And then, so I just thought it was applied to it because it was media, that like it was real life that influenced media, and then people go and watch slasher films. And I wondered, which I know we talked a little bit about it at one point when we did Kohberger last time, or 214. But this is basically his classmates saying that they were all bothered by what he did, but Brian never seemed bothered. So it's also like, do you think us, like, even like not us, but people who may not be like all the way right in the head looking into like serial killers, like could they become obsessed and then become a serial killer themselves?
No, that was
the question that I was going to pose with Brian, because he later says, and he calls these mental illnesses, mental disorders before his guilty plea. So he's saying that he was diagnosed, and he's calling it. And what that woman said in the stream, the therapist, she was like, these were not mental illnesses.
And that will drive me crazy. Do not use like mental illness as an excuse. I hate when, like when that's what he's doing. And this sounds like it's a Kohberger article, even saying that.
Well, this is Fox News, I guess, but they're just basically saying that he was diagnosed, and he's saying that, he had OCD, ADHD, ARFID, and autism. And so what the therapist says in that channel or in that stream, she's basically saying like, these are not mental illnesses. This is just like, they're not considered like a mental illness, like a schizophrenia or something like that. They're not like that. He's like, oh, so what? So he had an eating disorder, which is
evil is not mental illness.
Like that's not going to like OCD is not considered a mental illness. Like those things are not going to lead to
no, that's insane. That's ridiculous. And also
some people thought that because he had ADHD, which is hyper focusing on something, that maybe because he hyper focused on serial killers, that could have turned him into a serial killer.
No, there's a huge difference between like being interested in serial killers and planning to off people. That is the gap between that is ginormous. To really think that like you're gonna take the life of someone else intentionally because you have like when it wasn't hyper focused. Again, I would say go watch Dr. Gary Brucato's. He has so many interviews on this now. Mm-hmm. This was S motivated. Can I say? I don't want to say the word. Again,
and that's what she says too. That therapist that was in the show before. She says that anytime that there is a knife used, that's a phallic object. With these people, they consider it a phallic object. So it's almost as if they're doing like something that has to do with SA because it's penetrating the body in that way. So she went into the psychology of why
famously motivated. It's like it, and it's like, and that has been confirmed. So like, it's crazy to me when they're talking about like, oh, Elliot was on his phone. You want to know what else was on his phone? Some of the most horrific SA porn that imaginable, like, where the necrophilia and where people were like so drugged they couldn't respond or they couldn't say no. I mean, it was like disturbing stuff. Like this person was disturbed.
But why do you think that women are putting money on his books and still thinking that he's innocent? Is it because of his looks? Is it because
no, not definitely not. I would say it's
the investigation where there was the footage wasn't put out. I mean, obviously it was an active investigation, so we can't expect them to put out.
I think it's twofold. I think it's the lack of communication with the public, like they never, like we said, they did this slow drip release of information, and it just made these conspiracy theories go wild. So there's that element towards it, and people they don't believe it now because it's like, why? When you have a trial, you get to see how things unfolded, and it's kind of like a therapeutic process for everyone. And we didn't get that here. Instead, we'd get like, oh, here's this dump from the police. Oh, here's this from this. And so people don't have the capacity to put all those things together. I mean, it would be too difficult. The media can't even do it.
I think he was like really coddled as a kid too, because he called his mom like mommy and all that stuff. Like
like, you know how you kept going back to it's the parenting? Like, I also thought that maybe with him, it was the parenting because
the parent should have been, that's a red flag. Your son is like calling and demanding your attention and talking to you for hours every single day as an adult. Like there's something wrong with him. But
yeah, go ahead.
The second part of that is that there's this interesting thing with like these women who like romanticize these men in prison. And it's like, they either have there's all these different theories, but one is like they like that they can't leave them. Like they can get into this like love relationship with them, and the guy won't leave them. They're like, they know where they are. They can't cheat on them. I mean, and so there's like some really disturbed women who like that. There's also like the savior complex type people who are like, oh, I can help him. Like I'll save him. I can make this guy who killed 4 innocent people better. And
do you think that they have a mental illness?
Yes, that is definitely a mental illness. There's something severely wrong if you are attracted to,
I know that
off people, and like,
and I don't want to trigger you with the mental illness stuff, but I don't think any of those that he listed were mental illness he had. I think he has.
Agree. I agree with you 1,000%.
Broken.
It just
some
bothers
kind of
me.
mental illness there, but I don't think him using those things, which are really common. I mean, they call them mental disorders or whatever, but I don't even think they're mental disorders. I think those are just, I don't know, like neuron, like, I don't know. I've never thought of like OCD because, you know, a ton of people have OCD. Like
they're like learning. People want to say learning abilities, or like there's a spectrum. A lot of people have OCD. A lot of people have, I have OCD. Like, you know, just looking at those pillows was going to drive me nuts.
Yeah.
There was, you know, ADHD, millions of people have ADHD. This attention deficit.
But I do think he did have maybe some sort of like predisposition, because that's another thing me and Geeky were talking about, was whether is this from birth that there's already like a predisposition for these people, and so they have to be treated like with kid gloves, and it can like change through environment, or is there no way you can change it, or is it environment that makes you that way?
I think I definitely think
you're not one with it.
I think it's both. And I think from when you're born to, and who said this earlier with me, Jesse and Max, where, until age 7 is like that's where your brain is like getting completely formed. And so I don't know what happened there, but Christina's like, my daughter, my 16-year-old daughter calls me mommy. Yeah, no.
We're not saying that it's just like with video games. Not everybody who calls them mommy, but
no, he goes mother.
He doesn't say friends. Oh yeah, he called her mother.
He calls her mother, and he says, "Mother, where's father? Why isn't father answering the phone?"
And they were his only friends, and that's another red flag. That if
he had
you're
6
a parent
contacts,
right now,
6 contacts were saved in his phone.
Yeah, it's great for your parents to be friends with you, but you know, have other friends, know who their friends are, all of that stuff.
Every single day. If you're, how old was he? Like 30? If like 30 something, like your, you know, 30-year-old son is calling you for hours every single day, and is demanding now like where his father is, and like that, there's something seriously wrong with him. And I guarantee that there was red flags when he was younger, for sure. And I do blame the parents. Like you said, the sister was wearing like a cocktail dress at the sentencing hearing. It was like, what is this? Like, is this, you're using this for like attention? Is this your moment? I didn't understand that at all. And there's something weird going on. And you know what? The people who extracted the phone said that they got cult vibes from this, because they said there was a group text with like him, his mom, his dad, and his sisters. And they said it seemed very like cult-like.
Or like, and I think they were also religious too, because I remember that he grew up, I think it was Baptist or something, I forget, but we talked about it in that episode about forgiveness and stuff, that his family was religious. But we're going to go into the Luigi Mangione. This is my Roman Empire, because I'm like, if it is him, obviously he's innocent and we don't see his face in that video, but we see the unaliving of another person. And just because people hate pharmaceutical companies and stuff like that, it seemed like next thing you know, everybody loves Luigi Mangione.
This was one of the most wild ones to me, for sure.
This is super wild. So he comes from a prominent Maryland family. He was top of his class, went to an elite private school, Ivy League. So like, this is what I'm saying. Like, his parents did everything right. The only thing is that I think he might have had a predisposed kind of mental illness or something, because his parents said that he went missing as a missing persons prior to this coming out. It was in July. And then I think he unalived that person in December. Yeah, on 4th of December. So in July, his parents said, hey, he's missing. We can't get a hold of him. And I don't know of any adults who would say, hey, my child is missing or whatever. It's just your kid's not in contact with you. So I'm wondering if there was already, to what extent his own health troubles shaped his view of the medical industry. We know he hurt his back, and he was supposedly, this is resentment over some kind of slight from the medical company that he couldn't get his back fixed or something. We don't know exactly.
The guy has financial resources. You know what? This one was so strange to me. Because I don't know if you guys saw the interview of the guy who ran the work hotel or whatever it was in Hawaii that he stayed at. But that is, I suggest watching that. And let me see if I find it, I'll link it. But it was like, there was red flags to me in that, like he was he was shared a room with Luigi. This guy, he owns this company and this whole real estate company. He owned the entire hotel where everyone was staying, or this like work, I don't know what it was, like condo share, I don't know. But he like, so he's the one who owned, he didn't need to share a room with anyone. I got the weirdest vibes. Like he was like either like liked Luigi or something. And then when they asked him like, oh, what did he do drugs? And the way he responded was like, it seemed like it was every way to not say yes. Like I felt like the way he said no was like, it just, I can't remember exactly.
Weird. Okay, yeah, I don't think I've seen that roommate stuff, but yeah, so he basically shoots this guy, and then everybody, all these fangirls come out of nowhere, and they're like, he didn't do it, he's innocent. Well, we don't know if he did shoot him or not, actually, so let me backtrack. It's suspected that he was the shooter of what we saw on a video, that this man got shot or whatever. But he did, he got caught at McDonald's. He had some kind of like manifesto or handwritten document that expressed ill will towards corporate America and included passages such as, frankly, these parasites had it coming. A lot of people think that this was planted on him, that this is a government kind of patsy or some kind of like mental gymnastics that people are doing. But he attended in a private all boys school that he was valedictorian in. And so a lot of it is like, is it because they don't have access to girls? Because David also kept saying about how all his friends were falling in love, and he was like, he didn't really have any access to like in real life girls.
No,
he dated Celeste online as a 13-year-old or whatever. And then when he was 17 and he like goes and picks her up or brings her over or whatever, because I think that's when they start streaming together. When
he went to a very, very expensive, prominent all boys school, and they have a very, very expensive all girls school as well that they do these things with. There was not, it wasn't.
So I'm like, I don't know, like, I don't know. I'm leaning towards, because what's his name also didn't have access to girls.
On the East Coast, that's how all of these places are. Like they're like boarding schools, especially, and they are always having interactions with
people. Also into video games, Luigi Mangione. So there's the other connection. Kohberger played games, but I don't think he played games like that. But he developed a video game development club or whatever. So I don't know. There's like some stuff that I keep seeing that like keeps popping up in all of these cases. I'm like, did Barry Morphew play video games? I'm just kidding.
I mean, well,
did Barry Morphew have access to girls when he was?
I mean, they all have to breathe and drink water. Like, I don't see.
Yeah, the correlations. But anyways,
correlation is not causation.
She reported him missing in November to San Francisco authorities, telling him she had not heard from her son since July. So he was going through some kind of episode or something.
Well, that's the thing. And his family is very, very, very wealthy, like extremely wealthy. And they own like there's this golf club or this country club that's like really big, and it's a prominent family. Like, and so what was going on with him, I don't know if he did it or not, but like the reaction is what to me is very interesting, because this isn't just like, you know,
the website that they built for him. It's kind of like the timeline info. This is the whole website. It's got the homepage, the case updates, the attorneys, statements from his attorneys, FAQs, but the mail catalog, this is the one. So from the time he was arrested until goes up to August 22nd, he documents everything that he receives. So it's the first and last initial of the person, the last two numbers of their zip code, and then the date. And so this is all the mail that he has been receiving.
Why are his lawyers letting him publish the mail he's receiving?
Because supposedly for compliance, because like he writes it down, and then like so people like know that if like the letters are getting to him or not, like because
Oh, I see. Okay.
yeah. And so it goes on and on. This is 66 pages. I mean, this is all the people who are writing to him, and these
Are you sharing the screen?
Yeah, am I? There we
No,
go.
now you're.
Okay, so look, this is all pages and pages. It goes 66 pages. And it's the first initial, last initial, and then like this one says Canada or UK.
This is why you don't commit crimes. This is what will end up happening. You'll end up
France. Look,
this is the activities that you
people were writing to him. And then these are the people who showed up to his look with posters and everything.
Yeah.
It's completely unjust. And it's because a lot of these people think that you know, that they deserved it, or for whatever reason that guy deserved it, because corporate greed, who must fight, healthcare is a human right. So some of these supporters aren't even women. Some of these supporters and they've now, you know, used Luigi as a Nintendo character from Super Mario to represent him. Luigi before parasites. So these are all of his supporters. They're romanticizing that this is a man who could have committed a crime. And honestly, you know, why does it say Luigi before parasites? Like if he was innocent, it's not even saying it's his innocence. It's kind of saying like who cares? I don't know. It's really weird.
Yeah, well, that's the thing with this one. I really think this is so a lot of the support. I mean, yes, okay, he's
overwhelmed.
Okay, but I think a lot of the support is that, I mean, so many people have been slighted by the healthcare system. So a lot of people were just like, you know, whatever, they had it coming, but like we have to step back and be like, no, this was wrong. Like we don't solve problems by offing people, you know, because we're upset about something. This is a guy who had all the resources to get involved. I think it was his cousin or something was like, you know, in the House of Representatives or something. Like he had other options and other ways to go about, you know, causing like or fixing things from within instead of just being like, okay, I'm just going to like cause a media storm and like a movement of everyone all of a sudden hating everyone already kind of hates the healthcare industry, but nothing's going to happen unless it's like with the voters and with the politicians. And so he could have done it a different way. And it's just, but it is crazy the amount of people who just want to see, you know, give it to the healthcare. And I understand because so many people have horror stories of the, you know, health insurance.
Like, love notes to him, like during his last court hearing that he just did, they try to sneak little love notes, little hearts. That's what it was on the image of there's a little pink heart note that they were trying to be like, hey, Luigi, we support you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it's just weird. Like, do these people, I don't know. It just seems like they have something wrong with them because it's like, why would you glamorize somebody getting killed? Like, there's no way. There's no way. Like,
and I honestly, like, if you're going to glamorize someone like this, like, he's not a Dexter. Remember, like, the show Dexter?
Yeah.
Like, his dad, you know, gave him a code he was
only unalive serial killers.
Yeah, he was a sociopath. And so he gave him a code. Hold on one second. Ozzy. He gave him a code, you know, and it was like, you can only, you know, channel this energy and off people who really, really deserve it. And that, like, because they're not going to get justice, like, going through the system. And so, but that was different because offing this CEO guy, you know, the problem isn't going to be fixed by offing him. You have to fix it from like within. And so it's like
he glamorized Ted Kaczynski, Luigi Mangione, if that is his account on
the roommate had him read that, told him to read that in the book club. And like, I think the roommate was trying to make him this like try to be this like, I don't know, what was the word, like a revolutionary or something.
Yeah,
I think yeah, like, and because he had the resources and, you know, like he came again though. And you know, what's crazy is like apparently in his will for the family, if you commit a crime, you don't get the money. So like, hopefully he didn't do it, you know, but someone did it, and whoever did it, it's wrong. And I don't care if they're handsome, it's wrong.
But it's just like, that's the part that I'm like trying to do mental gymnastics with, is how they framed him and why frame him and why did he take the fall? I mean, it does seem kind of like weird that he just sat in a McDonald's if he was this mastermind and planned it. I know Lauren Conlon on her ex, she has it like a pinned tweet where she's saying, who did he call who was he on the phone with prior to this happening? When they see the video on the curb prior to, if it was him that did it.
Was he on the phone, or was he just trying to like look like he was on the phone so he wouldn't be suspicious?
I mean, that's the $1 million question. Was there other people involved and he just was the one who went down?
How New York was it? Was that lady who was standing there with her coffee and then just like she's like
didn't care.
She doesn't even spill her coffee. She's just like, all right, okay, I'm getting out of here. That guy just
happened. Yeah, that was
she's
really
like, I was
so
like,
the update on his case is basically that now, you know, they downgraded the charge of terrorism. So it's not a, what is it called? Like
it wasn't terrorism. It like this was definitely a crime, but it wasn't terrorism. Like that's
so they did drop 2 charges, which, you know, that was supposed, you know, well, it is
just
a win
because
for them.
the community
for them.
reacted. The community had a reaction that was like not what people, I guess, would normally expect. That doesn't make it terrorism. And so they totally overcharged on that. Like they really.
And I was glad because that's what happened with Casey Anthony, and that's how she got out. It was like
exactly.
They but then the latest is that Pam Bondi made a statement. So there's a gag order, and that's why on this website it says like, you know, they're being really careful because of the gag order. The case updates or this, where is it? Where they do the statements. Please note that to avoid inadvertently running afoul of any court rules, we will only be sharing what Ms. Agnifilio's statements. So the person representing them is the wife of the person that represented Diddy, which I thought was like pretty crazy because they're all like connected when I see, Mark Agnifilio. So they're both representing him, I guess, the wife and the Mark Agnifilio was who represented Diddy. And anyways, so they can't really say much, but Pam Bondi said something. So now they're trying to throw the whole case out based on what Pam Bondi said. So that's going to be interesting to see if that happens because she violated the gag order. And
the whole case isn't going to get thrown out.
What's that?
The whole case won't get thrown out for violating a gag order.
They're saying that he can't get due process now. So I don't know. I mean,
it is wild. That
happens. Are people mentally ill that are supporting him? I mean, even they're saying these people are different. They're saying even if he did it, it's okay.
Yeah, that's the thing. But again, and this is why it's this whole like people are somehow making this like, you know, a symbolic thing. Like this was, you know, a shot at the health insurance industry, which is a problem. But like you don't solve it by shooting people. Like you solve it, like you really want to solve it, then you need to go and like get involved and help change the laws. Like, you know, because the health insurance, these companies they're the ones that are, what's that word, where they give the money to the politicians. I'm spacing out right now. Lobbying. Yeah. The lobbying is out of control. And like, you know, we saw the mayor of New York, like do the perp walk with Mangione when he was extradited to New York. And like as if like, he was making this big statement, like for, you know, everyone and walking alongside, and they had like, you know, I don't know, like 50 security around him. And it was they just made this whole big thing of it. And it was like, don't give him that much attention. Like he shot someone and that was terrible. Put him on, if he did it, you know, put him on trial for murder, but like they made it bigger. All these people made it bigger. I think.
She said, why are all the people in the picture good looking too? Yeah. And it's like really good looking girls too. Like, it's not like you're like, you know, spazzy girl. These are like good looking girls. Like, yeah, some of the girls that I saw going in there, I was like, what the heck? Like, these are normal young girls. Like, I don't get it. If it's just like I don't know. I don't understand it. I can't even fathom it. But Barry Morphew, to wrap up here, because we have to wrap it up. We're going on 2 hours. It's saying Barry Morphew supporters raised funds to free him while awaiting trial and wife's death. So he's the Chipmunk Slayer.
That one's wild to me too. I don't understand.
His wife.
He's not handsome.
And so apparently the bond was $3 million, and his supporters gathered enough money to basically bail him out. And with this one, a lot of his supporters are supporting him because the 2 daughters are supporting him. And what the supporters are saying with this one is that because there was DNA found, so this is the latest, Barry Morphew may use mystery DNA for defense. There was mystery DNA found inside the car that belonged to someone else. But the reason why they're saying it's him is because what was found in her body was
an artist, right? A guy who got for SA and
it was the DNA of a guy who had previously had SA charges against him, and so they're trying to say that it could have been him. But what they found in her body was a deer tranquilizer called BAM, and the only person with access to it in the whole state that had bought it was Barry. And so I don't know if he's going to try and say that that person snuck into his home and used what he had and then did it to her. That's going to be his defense, because
TJ, look how creepy he looks. He's so creepy looking. I don't understand this at all.
Good looking, but yet women. So right after that, he was a suspect in her death. Literally, he got a girlfriend like within a week or two after, and they dated for a while. And then he moved to Arizona under an alias and had all these women after him, which is just so crazy. Like maybe he's just charming or something.
They had, didn't you say she had the recording pen, or
yeah, she was trying to record him. So here he is. There's another picture. He's not really good.
And it caught him though. It caught him, right?
No, it never caught him cheating. She never caught him. In fact, she was the one cheating, and it ended up catching her cheating.
No, not cheating. But the pen recorded him.
Oh no, it only record. The only thing that the pen caught him doing was listening to a podcast. It was a true crime podcast that he was listening to in the car. And that pen, it was basically like how she went missing. It was about a person who got like something about a bike. And that's what it was. She went, quote unquote, on a bike ride, and then her bike was tossed. And so it seemed like he used that true crime case that he listened to in the car to like emulate. And so that's another thing that we're talking about, romanticizing homicide, because he listened to true crime podcasts. Did that somehow play a part in like, hey, I can do it?
But that was already in him. He used that as you know, to have to try to get away with it. But like, that's in you. You don't just like are going to be like, I'm going to off my wife. Like, and then he was illegally shooting squirrels. Like that alone, you know, the guy is messed up.
Well, that's what we said was one of the signs was unaliving animals.
Yeah,
he said they were just a nuisance.
It's illegal to do that in that state too. Remember, you can't.
Yeah, it was. We Googled it, and it was illegal to do it. So his attorney says he maintains his innocence. So the reason for this support for Luigi Mangione was, you know, the system. People want to go against the system or whatever. Sorry, these are just ads. But the reason for him is because his two daughters support him, and so they're saying, well, she was a cheater. You know, she was cheating on him, and who knows who else she was cheating on with. Does she have other men?
Are the daughters
out?
Is
the
she the mom of?
They believe that he's innocent and that it was somebody else, and they're like,
TJ,
maybe,
is that mom? Is she their mom? The daughter's mom?
Yeah, she's their mom.
Their biological mom? Okay, so that's weird.
There was a picture of them holding hands, but I thought I saw it like where it was like them.
Do you think that the daughters have brain damage?
I don't know why the daughters are on his side. Because yeah, it is really strange. I don't know if it's because they're upset with the mom because she actually cheated, because they went through all of his devices and everything, and they never found any proof that he cheated on her. Like when she kept accusing him of cheating and all that stuff, they never found. So unless he had like another phone or something, but investigators never found any proof of what she was talking about. So I don't know if the kids. So here's him with the daughters real quick. Let me pull this up. They stand by their father. So they're really pretty girls. They're in college. And so this is the first time he got out when they had the mistrial, whatever, they didn't have enough stuff. And this is them smiling. And then even when he got out this last time, they were also by his side. So they both think that he's innocent and that somebody else did it, that it wasn't their dad. So I don't know if it's just because he had such a close relationship with them, if they blame the mom or what. But like, I know that if, somebody had done something to my mom and there was that much evidence where he's the only one, because now that in the second trial or the second time around where they charged him, they're like, he's the only one in the state with that deer tranquilizer that killed her. So it had to have been him, unless he's going to say someone broke into the house. But then with all the telemetrics of how he lied and how he said he turned left, and then all the video footage of him throwing stuff away at different trash cans. Like, look, this is them giving, an interview where they're like.
So there's something creepy going on there. Like, why are they, he's not dying. Why are they holding his hands like that? Like, he must have been like some kind of manipulative, or there's something weird. I'm sorry. There's something weird going on there.
Yeah. I mean, no, I get where you're going with that without saying it, that there might be something weird. I don't know. And we're not going to stop. Oh, right here it says, what they've done is not fair and we're never going to stop looking for our mom. So this was before they found her body. But that's what I'm saying. They still support him even after her body has been found in the tranquilizer that only he had. Like, it's insane to me. It can only mean that they're like shutting out what they really think, or you know what I mean? And so that's why he gets a lot of supporters, because
This is
people are
weird.
like, his
How old are
daughters,
these girls? They're like in
they're
their 20s.
their early 20s. Yeah.
There's something weird. I don't know. This is creepy to me.
Yeah. And
How are these people just giving their money away for this like creep fest? What is going on?
And yeah, so that was $30,000, because it's what, 10% of 30 million?
300. No, $300,000.
$300,000. Yeah, there you go. So it's $300,000 they came up with. And they just said it was supporters of his. And he does. He has, there's Reddit forums that are like very
I think they all three did it. There, I said it. I think they all three did it.
Well, it was weird because it happened when they left, like when they left the house, like for college or something, or like on a trip, which was really weird because they were always at home. And so it did happen when they had left on a trip. So I don't know if they were.
What's the life insurance policy on the mom?
I don't know. We'd have to look into that, because I never looked into whether there was a life insurance policy or not on her.
Look at their extension. Look at their hair. Something there. I'm just calling it this. Nothing. I follow so much true crime. So do you. I've never seen someone who's been accused of murder and then have their adult children holding their hands, like walking, and then holding their hands in an interview. And then, especially if you're innocent, I mean, there's just something. There's so much weird here. And then, like, look how they got ready for the. What was this? Was this a court, or were they coming out?
This was when he got freed. But yeah,
look how they show up to the prison. Like this is not normal. This is like
a little bit. We have a lot of crazies in Colorado. Yeah, that's so many cases come out of there, Missy. They keep us entertained for sure out there in Colorado.
I bet there was a good life insurance policy on the mom, and then I think maybe whatever, she cheated, and then he brainwashed the daughters and was like, I know how we'll solve this. She hurt me. I know.
Yeah, well, yeah, he was funding them because they were going to college and stuff. Okay, so look, here we go. Somebody put it together. I was like, let me Google it. Did Barry have a life insurance policy in Suzanne? I know he borrowed or took money from her, but he probably had been thinking about unaliving her. Each move seems so calculated. And then this person said she had 2 life insurance policies. One policy was recently paid out to Mal and Macy. Okay, well, insurance company would not give the funds to Barry. So this was 10 months ago. Girls gave 100% of their funds to their dad after they received it.
There you go. I mean, that is also weird. That is so weird.
Also, the house, it says recently Barry had his mom sign the quitclaim so he could give the deed to Mallory. Barry is now looking for a property. He creeps on women all the time. His AKA is Lee Moore. Macy has been living with her grandma at Buck Drive the last few months. She was in Arizona a couple years till her boyfriend couldn't deal with her daddy issues anymore. Macy called her boyfriend daddy versus his name.
Oh my God, you guys, this is wild. This is
breaking for me because I did not even think about them as close friends. I just thought they were weird. Like, they're just probably mad at their mom because the mom cheated.
Because you had to look at this. Like, so people are giving money because the pretty daughters are asking for the money. Mm-hmm. They're not giving money because of him. Because look at him. He's disgusting looking. And so that's why it didn't ring true to me. And then when I see those adult daughters holding his hand walking out of jail, that is like so weird. And look how they were dressed. You know how like you clocked it when Kohberger's or 214's sister was wearing that cocktail dress at the sentencing hearing? Like, there's something so weird here. Again, yeah, follow the money.
She called her boyfriend daddy. His friends, so her boyfriend's friends and family said that they slept with one eye open when she was around. So that one of the daughters is crazy. They witnessed crazy behavior from her and violence towards him and his parents. Barry and the sister are afraid she will tell all, so she isn't allowed to talk to anyone. So Macy is not allowed to talk to anyone because Barry and the sister. Mal is the other sister, still encrusted but working at Favor the Kind, seeks out part-time homeowners to ask if she can home sit while they are away because the condo she bought is listed as an Airbnb. Boyfriend Zach is trying to separate himself from her, but she keeps showing up for a place to stay with him. Says Mal is a psycho and that she degrades everyone behind their backs, including their sisters. They worship her dad and would do anything for him. says she would lie for her dad. The girls justify, see right here, girls justify dad killing mom because of the affair.
Yeah.
Say they will meet her again in another life. Eminem literally pray that mom's case remains cold while they wait for another big payout. Eminem celebrated release of mom's life insurance funds with dad in Santa Barbara last week. So this was 10 months ago. Eminem also gave dad their mom's inheritance funds they received a few weeks ago. Eminem will not talk to mom's side of the family and say horrible things about him. They are obsessed with status and money.
Yep, they're obsessed with the money. Yeah, and you could tell. Look what they're wearing. Like for this getting him out of the prison and and it was so performative, like holding the hand and exactly. Quarter Fate said they don't seem really that sad about their mom being deceased. They don't. It looks like
the money always. Thank you, Quarter Faith. Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
yes.
Especially
wow, I did not know that. And I've been following this case for a while, so I feel like in shock right now that you sleuthed that out. You clocked it.
Their hair too. Like they both have like extensions in. It's just when you lose like a loved one, like that's just not how things go down. That whole thing is so weird to me. The two insurance policies is weird. So was one through her work and then they had their own?
One was for the kids and one was for the husband, maybe, because the one was just for the kids, it said.
Yeah, but like they have their own and then she had another one at her work or something? Like there's something.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to sleuth that one out. But romanticizing homicide. So in the media, we're saying that it doesn't go into effect. Like you can romanticize it all you want in the media. I honestly still think that it does affect certain people and that maybe we should cool it on like different restrictions. And I know people don't want like digital IDs and stuff like that, but like, I don't know what it's going to take to solve it. But to me, it does seem like it can, turn someone, because for me, what I ended up telling Geeky is like, I feel like there's a difference between the content that you consume and then consuming it in isolation. I think if you consume it with other people, like what me and DFJ are doing right now, like I'm consuming this true crime stuff, but I'm able to talk to her to like, sleuth it out or talk about it and get it out. And it's like a collaboration. Whereas sometimes I feel when I'm just absorbing the true crime by myself, it makes me feel like really, really icky and like really, really bad. Like it starts to make me feel like, not like I'm going to go be violent or nothing. No, but like dark, like heaviness, like it's too much.
I fall asleep to it. I think
you're like, oh dang. No, like I can't consume too much true crime because it makes me feel icky. Or like if I watch a horror movie or something, like sometimes it'll like sit with me for a long time. But if I talk to someone about it, like, this is what was in the movie, blah, 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 then it doesn't like feel as heavy on me.
Well, and look at this. Quarter Fate also said something. She said you have to be predisposed to have that in your core. Like, so that's what I think too. It's like it's not just watching it is not going to make you want to do it. You have to have that in your core and be predisposed to that type of behavior and have that type of evil in you. And then, then I think they consume it for their own.
Says I watch it all with no problem. Yeah, I know.
Me too.
I'm super sensitive to it. I have to with the David case, I even told my mod Laura, I was like, I think it's this dang David case that's making me feel so icky. Like I'm consuming it day in and day out, and it's just like such dark themes.
I have to tell you something funny. My sister was like, "Oh, you should watch The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City or whatever." She's like, "It was so funny," and I started and watched it. I was like, I didn't laugh one time. I thought it was so stupid. And so then after that, I watched the Explore With Us, like one of those things, and the thing I was talking about where they do like the body cam of these crimes, and the kid was on the phone with 911 and he had just confessed to murdering this girl on the street, and the 911 operator staying on the phone and trying to ask questions and making sure they don't do anything dramatic or leave or something. And the mom's like, "Can you stop asking him questions? I need to call his dad." And I was like, I started laughing. I had this breakdown. I thought it was the funniest thing because I was like, "Ma'am, your son just admitted he just murdered like your neighbor, and you're telling the 911 operator to stop asking him questions so that you can call his father." Like I thought it was the most. Like that made me laugh. I thought that was
it's like a true crime thing. Well, I used to be able to handle horror and true crime. Like I did true crime for 10 years and I did missing people too, which was like down dark barriers. And I used to also just watch Dateline for fun and all that. But now I don't know, maybe as I'm getting older, my nervous system isn't as able to adapt to it because I can't be in it for a long time. And that's why I was kind of grateful when the Blake stuff came out because I was knee deep in the Madeline Soto case, which was really, really dark. And then I was like, oh, well, celebrity stuff, I could still delve into like legal stuff and sleuth, and it's not as dark. But little did I know that it was just as dark, if not even darker, because the Blake case went into some deep, dark depths of just
And with the
human
missing
behavior and different types of dark.
The missing persons ones are hard because I feel like it's consumed until the person is found.
Yeah, exactly.
Then once the person's found, most of the time it's devastating. So those are really hard.
Thank you, Quarter, for not having images helped. Thank you, Quarter, for coming by, even though, you know, the David stuff. And I said I wasn't going to cover the David because it was a child. But, you know, she was a teenage, Madeline was also a teenager too. But the thing with the David thing, I think that attracted me the most, that I made an exception for, was this, just him being a celebrity. And the fact that he was homeschooled and Christian, because I'm like, I want to go into the delves of like what turned him into it. Because all these cases, I think about the parents, like obviously Barry is so much older that I don't really like think to delve into his childhood or his parents. And there's probably not that much accessible information, but I want to know like what makes the murderer type of thing. Like, is it just, you know, predisposed genetics, or is it your environment, or like, because with like David's parents, I feel bad for him. Like they did everything wrong. He was the choir boy at the church. I mean, everything wrong, everything right. He was the choir boy at the church. They tried to raise him. Like, was it celebritydom that did it? Was he around too many yes men?
CJ felt bad. You felt bad for Brian Kohberger after he had just admitted to murdering 4 people. And you felt bad watching him sit there when he,
I was like, well, what if it was that he just has like a brain malfunction and he's like ding ding and doesn't like, can't capture it, and his parents didn't get him, like, you know, before people like that would be put into like an institute where they could get help and they weren't part of like the bigger part of society. And then now
you're too good. You're too good for this world, CJ. Christina actually said something.
I feel bad for the parents. Like, I don't know.
Christina said something, and she said, suspense is not for me. I have anxiety, so I live in suspense. And you know what? I realized that is why I like watching like Explore With Us, because at the end, you do, it's not just the crime, but like they wrap it up, like what happens, and it's you know, always like you figure out what happens and the bad person goes away. The other one I like is, this is so weird, but Predator Poachers, where they like they go online and they find these like online predator like PDF files, and then they catch them, and they get, you know, most of the time they get arrested, and I just like seeing the justice play out, and it helps me go to sleep. It makes me feel happy that like bad people are getting catched, and it's
like when I watched the dang Chris Watts documentary, I didn't sleep for like 2 weeks after that. My whole nervous system was so messed up because it's so well done with like all the text messages, everything leading up to it, like when they're interviewing him and like the neighbors like, this doesn't add up, and like it was just so, and then because it's little kids too, like I didn't sleep for like 2 weeks. That was one of like my first signs of like, oh, maybe you can't handle true crime anymore. Like
Missy,
it was bad.
Chris Watts lived 5 blocks from you. Oh my God, that I followed that one live.
Where are you seeing these? Oh, okay. Because I'm like, they're coming up late on mine. Because you'll say like, oh, so and so said something, and then I'm like, I don't see it in the comments.
So
they lived 5 blocks. Wow.
I followed that one like as it unfolded, and that one was so crazy because she was in that like multi-level marketing, you know, the MLM marketing, like pyramid scheme marketing. So she was always going online and try to like, oh, I'm using this product, I'm using that product, and like trying to sell stuff and whatever. So she was always online, and she always had her kids online. So there was so much footage, and that's what was so, I mean, it just like you felt like you really knew them, and it was so heartbreaking. And but you know, in that one, I have to say her friend was on it. Like she talks to her friend like every day or every other day. Her friend knew that she had her pregnancy appointment, and she knew she didn't hear from her. And she was walking in that house, and that was amazing. She like clocked it. She's like, nope, Shanann would never leave her phone at the house. Shanann would never leave the house without her purse, never leave the house. She's always on her phone. Like she knew, she clocked it right away. Everything.
Khaleesi's like, crime marathon? Yeah, it's not going on 2 hours, huh? We were just like deep diving it, and like I think I just spent way too much time talking on the David stuff, but
yeah,
it was the David thing. Empire, and I mean it was a good discussion, and I mean we went back and forth. She's my my what is it called? My devil's advocate. we went back and forth on media and stuff, because that to me, even though we had already covered it on the David case last time, that was the main question. I still wanted to kind of put it into this one, because I'm like, do we start by romanticizing stuff in the media, and then that makes us romanticize stuff like killers? Because look, Luigi romanticized Krasinski. Supposedly Kohberger did it to Ted Bundy. I don't know about MORPHEW, who he romanticized. Oh, he just
it seemed like he was trying to find a way to cover for what he was planning to do, according to the pen that was recording him listening to the story that he ended up using. So I feel like, sometimes I think that people who are predisposed will use what's already out there to validate or justify what they want to do, but or to connect with it, like, what's her name? Shabusiness, the one who chopped up her lover. Like, she loved Dahmer. She thought like he was the best thing that's like walked this. It was like her phone on her phone. It was like the wallpaper on her phone.
Should we not have access to like studying criminals? Like, does that lead?
No, we need to. That's how you learn. And I feel like for the most part, people like to study and like to know, so that we know what to look for, and we can clock those signs ourselves, and also learn from it. Like, what red flags did the parents miss? One of the weirdest ones is Dahmer, though, I'll say, because he was so open and so like admitted to everything.
Maybe it was like he was just charming, I think, and I don't know. A lot of people were attracted to him because he was so charming, and that's what the thing was. That even though, and it's kind of like the Dexter thing. I mean, yes, he was unaliving serial killers and stuff, but at one point, it still is one of my favorite shows. I love it. It's still going. This last season was phenomenal, but a lot of people are like, we're glamorizing this because, and that's what this season is about, is without any spoilers, is basically about, what about all the people that died with Dexter trying to keep the secret? Like, sure, he was fine, unaliving serial killers. He was doing, kind of like the Lord's work. Like, the justice system didn't hold him accountable, so he unalived him or whatever. But then what about all the people who died in the process of that for him not to get caught? And they were like actual innocents. Like, what about those lives?
What innocence?
Like his sister, for example, who, was unalived by, somebody that he had gone after or whatever. And then
his sister died?
Yeah, in the first or the third season, fourth season, some at some point. Spoiler alert for those who haven't watched all of Dexter.
Wait, I thought I watched the whole thing. I don't remember that part.
Yeah, so I think it was the final season is when she dies. Yeah, and then it came back, but and it was somebody that he had gone after and then ended up going after her, and then obviously his wife, who also a serial killer, went after her because of him. So there was a lot of innocent people who like died in as a result of what he was doing. And obviously they go for like the your most loved ones and stuff. That's always a risk. Even with him being a police officer, there's always a risk that people go after you. But I don't know, I thought like, yeah, I do glamorize Dexter because I'm like, oh my God, Dexter is so cool.
Oh, his brother. Did his brother kill his sister?
Oh yeah, Maria LaGuerta too. No, it wasn't his brother. It was another serial killer that ended up getting her. Yeah, I won't spoil it, Christina. The new season is really, 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 really good. But yeah, the detective goes after him for Maria LaGuerta, saying like, "This, you did this, Dexter. Like, you did this." Which Maria LaGuerta technically was unalived by his sister, right? Because she's the one who shot. But his sister shot her because she didn't want Dexter's secret to get out. So,
yeah,
Christina, that Resurrection is great. Yes, it is. It's really good. Okay, so we're gonna wrap up our crime marathon here, but yeah, like glamorizing Dexter even is like, is that okay? Like, I mean, he did do a good job, and I mean, in this season, he does a really great job as far as like, I can't wait till next season.
I love Dexter. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I glamorize him because I'm like, oh my God, I love it.
But he sticks to a very, very strict code. I mean, that's why it was like, because they won't always get a fair shot, and it's not right because the vigilante most of the time goes haywire. But that's why we can't support it. But like in in his world, like with the access to the resources he had and the ability to like never have anyone notice him on a boat throwing a bunch of bags off the boat like routinely. It was kind of amazing. Like he was never really caught.
It's like, well, is that the price to pay for other people to get justice? Like these are all these like really, really hard questions, but maybe we can do like a Dexter episode.
I love that
his character. He's America's favorite and loyal and lovable serial killer from Quarter Faith. So thank you to Quarter Faith for the $9.99, and thank you for who was it? My members, Missy, and who else is a member? You guys, was there other members in here? Anyone who's a member, thank you to you guys. Thanks for dual streaming with DFJ. If you guys can help her out with her hours.
Thank you.
That's why I was like, hey, we can go 2 hours. It'll help her streams. And plus it was a fun night. It was a good night. And I hate saying fun when we're talking about such dark stuff, but I feel like I got a lot of stuff out that I was like, you know, because I was even telling DFJ before we started, I'm like, I'm so drained from this David case. Like, I don't even know if I could talk about it, but I feel much better.
You talked about it for like over an hour.
I know. I feel so much better about it. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like she said, like, we can't feed the speculation of innocence or anything or guilt. Like at the end of the day, like now we just have to wait. We found word. LAPD is saying, hey, here we are. We're looking into it. Hang on.
We like facts. We like facts. We like, you know, paperwork.
And I honestly feel better now that the LAPD said something. Like, okay, now at least we know she was there for several weeks. We can't just say it was a couple days or whatever. And it was, you know, he was on tour.
CJ, this is the best. Look, they're like, they said, I'm watching on loop tomorrow for hours. And Kenny said she's working on the hours. It's a group effort. That is so
yeah,
awesome.
The other day, someone was saying like, I'm gonna put you on my computer, and it might have been, was it you, Kenny? That said, I'm gonna put you on the computer and the TV or something, so that they could do like, you know, get more hours in it. And
do we know how to send them to Lauren? Is Lauren still on?
I don't know if Lauren is still on. So I'm sorry. I actually forgot to say, like, if you guys wanted to log off, and I know a bunch of people did log off, but you guys can always replay crew me. So sorry to Lauren for, you know, going into her time, but there was no way.
It was a half hour. It was a half hour.
Laura always tells me, like, only choose 1 or 2 topics, because especially when I do a co-host, she always tells me, like, don't choose like 4 people because it takes you so much longer to go through. Because even when my morning shows that were 1 hour long, if I did more than 1 case, like usually I can only do 2 and keep it under an hour. If I do more than 2, like today's show ran to 1 hour and 15 minutes and I did 3 cases, but the Kim Kardashian one was kind of short. But yeah, so I just need to limit it. But I don't know. I just grouped these guys together, and then I added David in at the very end because it was originally just supposed to be Luigi, just an update on these 3. But because David's my Roman Empire, you can see that I just plugged him in there at the end. Like if you shut it down, you can see the original thumbnail was just them 3 centered.
Ooh, Missy said Cassidy is on. Hold on, let me see.
I have to eat dinner actually, because I've had my dinner that got here, and I haven't eaten it. So wait,
I want to see. Can we forward?
Yeah, I don't know how you do that, but yeah, let's forward them to Cassidy.
I'm gonna put a link here. Hold on.
You guys over there in a little bit after I eat.
I just put the link in there.
There's the link there. So go over to Cassidy's, go do the replay crew to Lauren, which I probably will. I'll probably fall asleep to that. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning for the show. We're going to be doing update on Spencer Pratt and probably this Blake Lively stuff. So it'll be a dual show, and that's what we'll do tomorrow. And then Tuesday night, tomorrow night, I'm going to get with Christina if she can do a show, but I want to do sports chatter because there's tons of stuff going on in the sports legal world, and also just in general, like anybody who watches sports, if they want to talk about their NFL picks, or there's all kinds of stuff going on. Also, we're having the Major League Baseball is also, so just for anyone who wants to talk about it. I know I don't have a huge sports crowd, but I was thinking of doing that tomorrow night.
Yeah, CJ can't fall asleep to crime because then she'll think that her tabs are recording her. Because when we were
joking earlier that on my live stream, the X, I had X up and it had a little red dot next to it, and I thought it was like recording me, and it's just that I have notifications. So I was like, oh,
it was like it's a notification. It was so funny.
Shapoopoo, Nick Shapoopoo. Us East Coasters, yeah, it's nighttime over here. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for all the support. Christina, once again, you're a doll. DFJ,
yes, thank you,
well.
Christina.
Thanks for stopping by and, you know, being my co-host for this. It was a good chat. I appreciate y'all. See y'all in the morning.
Thank you. See you guys tomorrow.